And we're starting in this camera.
You gonna cut that off once we go? That off once we go?
No, Mark is. I can't cut that. That's on the computer.
You gotta kill the audio here too, Mark. I don't know how to do it.
Are we good?
We're good.
You do not want to get a peek at what's going on in our studio right now because we have all kinds of breaking, fascinating, investigative information for you on what we thought would be kind of a lazy, hazy, sleepy Friday in a beautiful March in paradise here in South Florida. But through our vast network of information, we got
Vast network.
we got some great information today, and it exposes, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470 on the radio side. What we're going to show you today is a graphic, and I'm telling you, it's graphic. It's a graphic illustration of the Islamic Jihadi ideology and its proponents, members of the whether they're card-carrying members of the Muslim Brotherhood or they're ideologically in sympathy with, harmonized with the Brotherhood thought patterns. We're going to graphically illustrate today through a string of emails the Sharia-compliant Muslim Brotherhood desire to suppress criticism, analysis, any communication perceived as not good of Islam. We're going to show you how the Muslim Brotherhood has joined with the left, the socialist, doctrinaire, Marxist, leftist community in the United States as they manifest themselves in these phony, baloney interfaith organizations that we at the United West have busted up so many times. But we're going to show you collusion in a plot to target a rabbi in New York who has invited the brave counter-jihad warrior, counter-jihad analyst Pamela Geller. A rabbi invited a synagogue, and some folks in the synagogue invited Pamela Geller to speak there in a couple of weeks. And word got out she was going to be there because they're advertising for it. And a group of leftists, those who do not like the First Amendment, and they don't like the Second Amendment either, group of leftists in collusion with a leading distinguished Muslim by the name of Habib, Mr. Habib. Hi, Mr. Habib. I hope you're watching. Habib Ahmed. Mr. Habib Ahmed out of Nassau, New York, Islamic Center of Long Island. We're going to show you a string of emails. They don't want you to see these emails, but we got them. We got our hands on them, and we're exposing this so that you folks can understand the international, national, and local effort to suppress people like myself, like Pamela Geller, and others. But in particular, this plot that we are exposing was schemed up by a whole bunch of people, and their names are out there for the world to see and interact with them, you know, in this ideological battle, challenging them. What is that? Oh, challenging them to say, you know, let free speech go. That's what made America great, ladies and gentlemen. When we at the United West, Trento Vision, when we see what we saw today, you know, behind the scenes effort to get Pamela Geller thrown out of a synagogue, my word, because she's speaking on the Sharia, give me a break. But this is the problem we have. This is the problem with this administration. When you have 6 or 7 legitimate ideological associates and or members of the Muslim Brotherhood in administrative and influential positions in the White House, when you have this sort of going on, then you get what we have right now. Muslims and leftists going after someone who stands up bravely to say, hey, Islam has problems and I want to make you aware of it. That's an ideological battle. That's what this country was formed on. You don't stop free speech. We're in a battle right now with Florida Atlantic University, where the Students for Justice for Palestine are doing all their crazy stuff. We don't want them not to be there. We think in many respects they absolutely have the right to be there, and they should, whatever they want to do, they should do. If they do it on the campus, we should have the right to expose it, to go in where they're going, videotape it, and expose it to the world. But no, 2 weeks ago, we were thrown out twice of a public meeting at a public university. Same thing happened at Brooklyn College when a group of Jewish students were thrown out because they had a view contrary to the machine's view. All right, Tom Trento here. We got a fascinating 3 hours for you today. We're going to deal with some of the other breaking issues and important news items that are on the agenda, particularly as it relates to national security. For many of you just joining us, I direct an organization called The United West. Go there sometime, theunitedwest.org. We're a counterterrorism organization that seeks to ideologically disrupt, disable, destroy the Muslim Brotherhood's operations in the United States of America. Now, why would we do that? Why would we want to disrupt the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America?
I don't know.
Is that you, Imam Abdullah? You had the nerve to show up here today?
Absolutely. I'm very offended at your whole show program.
Okay. Well, we have our resident Jihadi Muslim here, Imam Abdullah. I fool you, you fool, right?
Yes, Minister of Taqiyya.
We have many more people watching today because we put a big email out. What are your thoughts, very quickly, on
the she-devil?
You mean Pamela Geller? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes, the she-devil.
She's a wonderful American patriot. But that's how you guys view her.
She is Zionist.
Yes, she is.
I cannot even say the words I would like to use for her.
Okay, well, we'll hear more from you, Imam. What's your first name?
Abdullah.
What's your last name?
I fool you, Imam.
Oh, okay. Imam Abdullah. Okay, well, that's our resident Muslim. With me is CJ, Cheryl Joy. She gained about 150 pounds.
She's fat.
She gained about 150 pounds.
CJ, fat.
And, well, she needed to...
She beef up a little bit. Yeah, she's a little too...
She took that cheeseburger comment a little too literally.
My co-host,
Hardy.
My co-host Cheryl Joy is not with us for a few days. She's a Jewish woman. She's very involved with family and getting the Seder, Passover together, and some other issues. We miss her dearly, but we dragged J. Mark Campbell. We dragged J. Mark Campbell.
Hi, everyone.
Out from behind the machines, and we got a couple of rookies out there. I wonder how that's.
Well, you're gonna get new pilots behind the controls. So
new pilots back there.
What's this button?
Oh, that was the delete key. Okay.
We have a lot of serious stuff to do today, but it's Friday. And
we make jihad fun.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what's fun. If you want to know what's fun, is finding through our sources the little collusion of Sharia-compliant Muslims who are joining with Sharia-compliant leftists. Yeah, joining. Yeah.
Maybe not stuck at the hip with it. More like it, Tom.
Yeah, it's more like it.
We like to refer to it as the Green and Red Alliance.
That's right, the Green and Red Alliance. The best way to start off this show. Now, the primary thrust of our show, and a little later in the show, we're going to have Dr. Andy Bostom on. Dr. Andy Bostom from New England is an expert. He's a physician, but he's also an expert, a scholar, an academic. He's an expert on the Sharia, the path to Islamic righteousness. He's written hundreds of publications.
Oh, the guy is just amazing.
Several massive books, 700 700 pages, 1,000 pages. Andy Boston spoke recently at Rabbi John Hausman's synagogue. Oh, no, a synagogue. The Muslims are going to stop that from happening, too. Spoke at John Hausman's synagogue a couple of nights ago with Lars Hedegaard, who was almost taken out.
Almost.
About a month ago, yeah.
About 3 inches from his face. And
Yeah,
I don't know how the guy missed.
Came into his home, to the hallway, and shot at him. But Andy,
Just trying to scare him.
yeah, Andy Boston
that's for sure.
spoke the other night and had a fabulous analysis of the American left, made up mostly, sadly, folks, of Democrats. And we're tweaking here. Yeah, let me get a little more volume too. There we go. Okay, made up mostly of Democrats on the left and their collusion, the ideological unification of the Democrat leftist suppressive desire to avoid criticism, because most leftists don't think with their head, they emote. So when you think with your head, it conflicts with their Weltanschauung, their worldview.
The worldview, right?
So they find sympathy in the global supremacist view of Islam, particularly as articulated in the Brotherhood and the Brotherhood's plan for America. Andy Boston had a fabulous analysis of how these two ideologies or two sociologies converge into a particular anti-American ideology that wants to suppress criticism of Islam and categorize it as blasphemy, thus elevating it to a point where international bodies can write laws against it, and then in a de facto sort of way, the United States over a few years can accept those, and pretty soon, like happened to me in Europe, speaking a couple of times in Paris, I was violating the hate laws on public space. And I had to get out of Dodge a couple of times, and that's what some people want for America here. One of the best ways so that's Andy Boston a little later in the show. We have Michelle Bachmann, too, coming on. She'll be here by a video of her. She didn't do something.
She's not going to be here?
No.
Don't get me all excited about that, Tom. I thought you were like surprising me or something.
But she made a short speech.
Witch hunter.
Which actor?
She did a short speech at a CPAC about a year ago on this subject today that we found in these emails. And for our listening and viewing audience, if you're listening on Trento on a WNN 1470. That means you're driving in your automobile. You can push the little button to the right, 1470. You can listen from Miami to Orlando. Or maybe you're listening on the website, www.nnradio.com. You could be listening there. Or you're listening on iHeartRadio. Fabulous way if you're on iHeart.
That's actually
and you want to find our station. It's WNN in South Florida. If you're watching, hello, is the Tea Party folks, are they jiggy with us today? Tea Party community? Maybe?
Everything's fine, Tom.
Jiggy, Tea Party community.
Everything's fine.
Everything is halal.
Everything is halal today, Tom.
Good. 120,000 members of the Tea Party community. We welcome all of you guys watching the show, however many of you are watching. We thank you. You guys many of you are expanding out now from the traditional economic and small government issues to national security, to support for Israel. That's what we do at the United West. We defend the United States Constitution from all enemies, even enemies that try to suppress free speech. We defend the state of Israel and her right to exist. Number one, how stupid is that statement?
Yeah,
and number two,
not
defend
stupid
herself.
at all.
Number three, we fight Islam, and we don't qualify that. We'll let those who are members of Islam explain to us what they mean by Islam, because our understanding of Islam, we're not taking it in an anecdotal way from Imam Rauf or somebody like that. We're taking it from the authoritative doctrines, from the documents, from the Sunnah, the Hadith, the Quran, from Qaradari, from Katub. We're taking Islam qua Islam, as Erdogan said, the president of Turkey, who sadly Benjamin Netanyahu today apologized too for
What's up with that?
Another story, another day. Maybe
we could go like an hour show
I
on
know.
that thing.
We'll hit it a little later. But the point is, one of the objectives of the United West is to fight Islam. And people go, oh, what do you mean you're fighting Islam? You're fighting radical Islam. You're fighting political Islam. You're fighting... What the hell are all these modifiers? It's not our job in America to figure out what you mean by Islam. We go to the doctrines. If you don't follow the doctrines of Islam, then you're not following Islam, number one, and you're inventing some other modification or manifestation of Islam. That's fine as long as it's not lethal. You can do anything you want in the United States, but you can't have an ideology, Islam qua Islam, that has as its root the Sharia, which has as its root the conquest of the West of America and the destruction of the Constitution. That's pretty clear, folks. We deal with clarity here. So, and our fourth area is to expose President Obama, who is a pro-Arabist, though I got to admit, he did a fantastic job of pulling the wool over many, many eyes globally with all his sweet-sounding words over the past
after
couple
he
of
blew
days.
off the Knesset and went to talk to the university, you got to think about that, Tom. Tom, you got to think about that. If Benjamin Netanyahu came to the United States, and it's a big, big deal, in the United States. Let's say it was as big as the deal is over in Israel.
We invite him to speak in Congress to a joint session.
Right, and he goes,
I'm going to Berkeley.
Not so much. I'm going to Berkeley.
Yeah.
No. You know what? And when I get to Berkeley, I'm going to invite the most leftist radicals. I'm going to invite the KKK. I'm going to invite La Raza, and they're going to be my special invited guest.
And then when I go to Ramallah, I'm going to sit under Yasser Arafat's picture. Did you see that? He sat next to Mahmoud Abbas, and on Mahmoud Abbas there was a picture of Yasser Arafat right above the president's head. Now, yeah, maybe, I mean, that's another story for another day, but the optics there did not work. That's going to come back to haunt the president.
You have to look past this is all about how you are perceived. It has nothing to do with what he actually thinks or believes. And this is just, he's saying all the right things. Whereas a year ago, he says he wants to go to 67 borders.
Yep. And the analysis of and what we've been doing, folks, for our listening audience, and many of you just tuning in for the first time, my name is Tom Trento. I host Trento Vision, a show that is focused on national security issues in particular. We expose the operations of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America because they are one of the most significant threats to America right now, and it involves all the national security issues. Mark Campbell, co-host today, usually directing the operation behind the board there. For the past couple of days, we've been tracking President Obama's trip in Israel because it's so vitally important to national security concerns. And that's why we're spending a little time right now on it, but we're going to show you a neat video in about 30 seconds here. And what we saw President Obama doing is he was doing psychology, not philosophy, in his speech. He was talking about the little children need some
little
land.
dead babies. Look at the little dead babies. It's fine. Oh, don't you feel sorry for the dead babies? I mean, how many times did he say dead?
I know, and the children need...
And Joe Biden, too.
Yeah, why did they... He was doing psychology, not philosophy. He wasn't looking at the philosophical issues of the hate doctrine of the Hamas or even the PA in their doctrines. We're very big on what are your core beliefs written down that you build your institutions on. When you look at the Hamas and you look at the PA and you see their covenants, their constitutions, and they are committed to the eternal hatred and destruction of Israel, that's where the president needs to address. Not the psychology of every child needs its own homeland. How the hell are you going to have a homeland if one of the peace partners are committed to the eternal destruction of the other peace partner? That's where you start, President Obama.
That is how we get our homeland.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Because most people don't do philosophy. They do psychology, and they are persuaded by psychology, but not us. I'll tell you who had a little existential crisis in his life last summer. Going from psychology to philosophy to theology to I'm getting the hell out of here is Senator Avello.
Tony Avello, right?
From New York. last summer, we were in New York. I think it was September, and we being the United West, and we were covering the Muslim Day Parade in New York City. And we covered some of the moderate speakers that were part of the parade procession that went down 34th, I think it was, and the New York New York Police Department marching band, beautiful, fabulous band, leading these moderate Muslims
with a black Al Qaeda flag.
With a black Al Qaeda flag.
Are you kidding?
This is how clueless
No.
people are. No, they're going down. They have the black Al Qaeda flag. The New York. The police weren't holding it. The Muslims were holding it.
Oh, I thought you were telling me the police were holding it.
No.
No, but the police are leading the
marching
That's the
band.
Egyptian police.
No, that's the Benghazi police over there.
and so we rolled our cameras like we normally do, and then we're standing on the side and we're watching the moderate speakers. This was right after, it was September. This was right after Innocence of Muhammad.
This is like a bonus surprise. Yeah.
The what?
Innocence of
Muslims.
Muslims.
Yeah.
Innocence of
Oh, yeah,
Muslims.
it's immediately after that. And everybody's all enraged about the video, and
And this fits it. Well, the reason why we're showing the video is because the topic today, the suppression of Pamela Geller's right to speak at a synagogue, instituted by Mr. Habib Ahmed and all his buddies. And we're watching, and I mean, these moderate Muslim leaders who are the pride of New York.
Right.
This is what Islam is all about.
This is the
They friggin' blew a cork because they reverted back to their jihadi self, not
We
their
can't help it.
not their Western Front, right? We caught it on tape, and we watched Tony Avello, State Senator Tony Avello.
he's a Democrat.
Yeah, he's a Democrat. He was one of the marshals of
Yeah,
the
he was
parade.
he had the marshal sash on his parade, and he.
So we watched him. His head was exploding as they were saying very nice things about America.
It looked like he swallowed his own vomit.
He really
really
did.
did.
He actually. You got to imagine. He actually walks off the stage.
He blew off the stage. I ran after him and tried to interview him and got enough words for you to see what's going on. Take a look at this video. It shows exactly what we're talking about today. Hi, Tom Trento.
Okay.
Hi, Tom Trento with the United West on Sunday, September 23rd, 2012, Midtown Manhattan at the Muslim Parade. And we're going to show you a whole bunch of stuff about the parade at some point, but right now we got to draw attention to breaking news. During the presentations at the end of the parade, where the dignitaries got up and spoke, several jihadi individuals spoke. One in particular was an imam from Brooklyn who condemned the United States and called for blasphemy laws to be written by the United Nations, by the United States, and by President Obama against anyone who blasphemed the Prophet.
The freedom of speech and freedom of rights of other states. So I would like to demand United Nations to make an international law that would criminalize blasphemy. I again demand to the United Nations on this platform, please make an international law for the protection of honor of our beloved Prophet.
Following that individual was a very articulate English woman who gave sort of a rap poetic presentation about the horror of the United States and the need for the Ummah, the Muslim family, to stand up against the United States as they insult the Prophet.
We carry unborn martyrs in our wombs and drop bombs in here because all that we blow up his minds in minefields. They resonate in refugee camps that are housed by Zionist Nazis.
Well, that was too much for one of the marshals of the parade, State Senator Tony Avello. He was asked to be a marshal. He marched with the Muslims down Madison Avenue about 10 blocks. He sat on the stage. He was ready at some point to speak. After these two jihadis, the imam from Brooklyn and the articulate English woman, condemned the United States, he had enough. He got up off the stage, left in protest, left in disgust. I tried to catch up with him. We got a few words from him.
What did you think of that?
Thank you.
What did you think of that?
I was offended.
What is your name?
Tony Avella.
You're with the city?
I'm a state senator.
A state senator. What offended you?
I'm not going to get into it.
No, we saw you up there very upset. You want to share it?
No, thanks. Okay. I don't want to ruin the event for somebody else.
State Senator Tony Avello deserves to be commended for recognizing the horror of this presentation, the horror of this Muslim Day parade. And again, he is a hero to all Americans for walking off that stage. God bless you, Tony Avello.
There you go. See, not all Democrats are bad.
No, we never said that. No, but the thrust of that whole deal, I haven't watched that video in a while. It's got like 250,000 hits, that thing.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a while, and I'm still shocked
by it. Yeah.
That one imam, I wonder if they put a muzzle on that. What do you think of him, Imam Abdullah?
I think he is absolutely 100% correct.
Hey,
there should be laws against the infidels blasphemizing the Prophet and Allah and or touching a Quran wrong or any number of things. Your infidel should not even be reading our information. I don't know why you even make show of this.
You know, well, that's the issue for today. See, we do things a little differently here in the United States.
Yes, you're very different.
And yeah, that thing, and then the woman. She was great. She went on for about 15 minutes and had this kind of rap.
Bombs in our wounds and martyrs like Nazi, Jews.
She was riveting that way, and she was riveting that way. But what I'd like to tell you before we get into the emails and go through them is another video has been made by a friend of ours, Carolyn Glick. And she put
another she-devil.
she put this video out for Passover, and it's a little different than what they normally do. They do comedy and all of this, but she decided to do a bit of a rap video, a music video, and deliver a message from a particular group. One particular group to the Palestinian jihadis in Israel.
Tom, I don't like rap, but I like this video.
Oh yeah. And we're going to show you. It's 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to just cut it up a little bit, show you a little segment each time. But take a look at this now, juxtaposed against the jihadis on Madison Avenue calling for the blasphemy, calling for international blasphemy laws. And
like our good friend at Islamic Center, Boca Raton.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Now take a look 7,000 miles from here, the guys on the front lines, and how they fight this issue. It's entitled, "I'm an Israeli Soldier."
So let me hear you say that I'm a criminal of war. Come on, little punk, that's what you came here for. Take a photo, you can stage it if it's necessary. Should I make an expression that is really scary? Bigger than you, we're here and disappeared. Not to mention smarter, but that's no big deal. So deceived and naive, whatever you achieve, as much as you lie, you're dust on my sleeve. For 4,000 years this country's been mine. That's before your great-grandmother wore diapers and wine. Open a book, it's not a big mystery, though I'm sure you failed the test in history. When force is not an option, you refer to scam. But frankly, you bug, I don't give a damn of your ignorant opinion or what you think about me. I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. Let me tell you what condemn the 10 plagues.
Okay, we'll stop right there. We'll play that. What do you think of that? What do you guys think of that? That was pretty. What do you think of it, Imam?
Terrible.
That is Carolyn Glick's Latma. Her group. She has a group that does these fabulous videos. They do sketches, comedy, dramatic stuff, and this was a pretty serious rap song they put together about the Israeli soldiers defending their tiny, tiny nation. You understand? There's about 6 or 7 million Jews in Israel. and 6 or 7 million here, and 1 or 2 or 3 scattered around the rest of the world. In Israel, they're surrounded by 330 million. Every nation, except maybe Jordan, but that's swinging on a ledge right now, going to be Brotherhood territory soon. 330 million Muslims surrounding 7 million, and the only real democracy in the Middle East. So Caroline Glick, who works with Frank Gaffney at Center for Security Policy, she was an advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, IDF soldier, all of that. She put this piece together. It's really fabulous. And we wanted to play it right now because we sent out a pretty significant email today, that a bunch of Muslim folks, more than normal probably, would be listening. And we want you to take a look at the IDF, okay? Just to take a little bit of look at the IDF. And we know you hate them, and you hate Israel. We understand that. But this is a country that is unlike it was in 1948, unlike it was in 56, unlike it was in 63, unlike it was in 67, unlike it was in 73, and unlike it was yesterday, okay? This is a country well equipped, well prepared to defend itself, either on an existential level, on a kinetic level, on a whatever has to happen level. And if you were watching carefully yesterday, notwithstanding the fact that he may have been biting his tongue, President Obama made it pretty clear that the United States, and thank God that the United States is made up of more people than a president and the administration, 3 branches of government, and 330 million people here. Same amount of people surrounding Israel. Though, for the most part, we're defenders of Israel because we see the necessity of that country in their relationship for national security purposes to us. Obama made it pretty clear to Netanyahu that if Iran or anyone else messes with Israel, the United States and its overwhelming superpower capability will be there. And I think this time around, nobody's going to be playing games. There's going to be sufficient force to destroy a sufficient enemy. That simply. Now, we understand Islamic Jihad theology and eschatology, that a conflagration of apocalyptic levels is indeed desired by Mahmoud Ahmadinejad to bring back the Shia, 12th Imam. What about you Sunnis? You guys don't believe in that, do you? No, you're slicing each other's throats in Syria.
Yes.
This is Islam.
Thank you, Mr. Obama, for giving us the weapons.
This is Islam unplugged in Syria, folks. That's what you're looking at now. Sunni against Shia, throat slicing against throat slicing. And that's historically what's happened in the ideology of Islam. So for somebody, Mr. Habib Ahmed and his useful idiot dhimmis that are involved with the various interfaith organizations, to have the nerve to even think about suppressing someone's right to criticize an ideology that's brought destruction to most of the world through the ages. People are out of your friggin' minds. You really are, which is why we're addressing this today. Your thoughts, Mark, as you slide back in
As I sneak
here.
back in. It's just a mess, Tom. It's truly a mess. And, you know.
You got to talk really close into that microphone.
No, I'm just trying to get back in my seat here. Thanks for throwing it to me just as I'm dodging across the end zone.
I was finished.
There you go. Off to you, Mark. What?
I had a cough.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah. No, but from the Avella video, nothing's changed. No. And if anything, it's gotten worse. I mean, we stumbled onto the Avella video. We really did when we went down there. We never expected that.
No, we weren't going for that. No,
we weren't going for that. We didn't even know Tony Avella.
We were going there to welcome Mahmoud Ahmadinejad to the
it was the whole completely different mission.
Hotel.
I keep saying this to you all the time, Tom. As we're going to the cherry tree to pick the fruit, we keep stumbling over watermelons coming up there because it's just all over the ground.
There's way too many little fruit metaphors in there. No, I just say it's the providence of God. That's what I say. So. All right, let's go to the IVGA. Come to my screen, please. If you guys can do that. This is Tom Trento at 36 minutes past 3 o'clock.
That's
And past 3 o'clock on the East Coast.
there we go.
It's 33 minutes past 12 o'clock for all our folks listening and watching out there. What we're going to do right now, we're going to dive in, and we have a 3-hour show, so we're here till 6 o'clock. We take a short break at the top of the hour. We're going to dive into Exhibit 1. If you've ever been in a courtroom, when evidence is submitted and stipulated to, it's marked Exhibit 1. Did you turn down this thing? This thing got quieter, so for some reason. Exhibit 1. We're going to go through Exhibit 1, which is a series of emails, 7 in particular, that the United West got its hands on. And we just have a way of doing that worldwide with all kinds of information. We're not funded by any government. We're not the Mossad. We're not the CIA. We're nothing like that. We're just a bunch of schmucks that love our country and kind of know what we're doing and want to fight for it.
I hate this country.
But to keep the circus, to keep a tent over the circus, come back here for a minute, Mike. Let me make a desperate plea of to keep a tent over the circus. We can use your generous donations. We're a 501c3 organization, and it is tax exempt. And we're a little guy. We're just a little guy, but we pack a big punch. And we're very efficient. Everyone's a volunteer. The money goes into the operations. So if you're inclined to agree with what we do, exposing, disrupting, disabling, destroying the ideologies that are antithetical to the United States, to Israel, particularly the Brotherhood and Islamic doctrines, go to TrentoVision.tv. TrentoVision, like television. TrentoVision. Had a hard time coming up with that name. TrentoVision.tv. You'll see a little button, Donate Securely. We'd appreciate your generous donation. If you do not want your name associated, some folks don't want their name associated to a donation to us because there are some people that don't like us. And so contact Tom at TrentoVision.tv. There are ways you can donate completely legally without your name being involved in any way, shape, or form. We're on the front line. We're on the tip of the spear of the front line. Go to our website, theunitedwest.org. You'll see the kind of stuff we do. And this is the kind of stuff we do. And we have this big microphone now that hits many, many people. And our videos have hit how many millions of people, right, Mark?
We've had over 5 million, viewers in all our videos, and it's pretty.
It's pretty good for a little nothing organization,
right,
sure.
Right.
And I say nothing very facetiously,
yes, you do.
Because we are much more than nothing. That's for sure.
That's right.
All right, come back to my screen there for a minute, Mike.
Right.
This is the email that went out earlier today, and we send something out each day announcing what our program is, and we had to change it because we got our intelligence here. And the headline says, "Busted, Muslim Jihadis." Now, we picked these words very carefully. These are Muslim folks by definition and by their own description. They're jihadis. Oh, what's my jihad? What's your jihad, Imam Abdullah?
Another factor in...
You got the video playing?
Most sorry.
What do you
my jihad is to get the board right.
My jihad is to further the cause of Islam in this miserable country of yours, regardless of consequences to your country.
Okay, I'd say that's pretty good.
Actually, I should not say regardless. It is to bring your country down.
Okay, well, that fits into their view here. That's not their stated view. These kinds of folks, Mr. Habib Ahmed and Imam Rauf, and why would I say the two of them? Why do I keep saying the two of them together? Imam Rauf, remember who he was?
Yes.
He's that lovely individual in New York that wanted to build that mosque.
The ground zero.
Imam Rauf was going to build a ground zero mosque at Park 51, and we spent a lot of time there. What? There's no insult.
There's no insult there, Tom.
But the United West spent a lot of time with a lot of great counter-jihad warriors. Pamela Geller, in fact, was one of the leaders, if not the key leader, of fighting Imam Rauf. And he has a wife. Doesn't he have a wife?
Yes, very, very pretty woman.
What's her name?
She's like a flower, is she not?
What is her name?
She is a flower. That is a hint for you.
Oh, Daisy.
Daisy.
Yes.
Daisy.
Imam Raouf's wife is Daisy Khan or
That is
Cohen.
a beautiful name.
Daisy Cohen.
Khan. No,
Daisy
Khan, you
Khan.
fool.
Oh, not
Daisy
Cohen. It's not
Khan.
Like the
Jewish.
hot dog. Like the hot dog. Come.
Oh, Daisy Khan.
Yes,
Daisy Khan is married to Imam
flows
Raouf.
off of the lips, so beautiful.
Okay, let me get this straight. Daisy Khan is married to Imam Raouf. Imam Raouf was against Pamela Geller at Park 51,
Right.
the Ground Zero Mosque.
Yes.
I wonder who Daisy Khan's uncle is. Does anybody know? How about Mr. Habib Ahmed?
No.
Really?
Oh, what a surprise!
I did not know that, Tom.
Daisy Khan, and look at the go to my screen,
That
Mike.
one.
Radical leftists, the Muslims and radical leftists target New York rabbi to stop Pamela Geller from speaking. That's Mr. Habib Ahmed right there.
This is the man you worry from? He look like dentist.
He does. He looks like a
He does
dentist.
look like a dentist, doesn't he?
Now, what you got to do, see, what the jihadis do when they come to America, they get their Armani suits and they get their
Right.
$200 haircuts and their designer glasses. They drive Bentleys. You put this sucker in Afghanistan and put a black Taliban head hat on him and whatever, and he starts getting down, right? But the point is, interestingly enough, Daisy Khan, who's married to Imam Raouf, this is Daisy Khan's uncle. Mr. Ahmed is Daisy Khan's uncle.
It is a family affair.
It's a family affair. We need Sly and a Family Stone or whoever it was.
No Sly.
Yeah, was it Sly? Now, does the current day effort to suppress Pamela Geller's speech at a synagogue? Now, she wasn't going to a mosque to speak, where maybe, if you're a Muslim and you don't want on your Muslim stuff, you got a little. She's Jewish, I believe. Pamela's Jewish. She's going to a Jewish synagogue to speak, and Muslims don't want her to be in a Jewish synagogue to speak.
Well,
Blasphemy is
See,
blasphemy.
that's the whole.
Okay.
And this is actually a teachable moment here, because this is part of this stuff.
I don't think your mic is on.
This is part of the dawah, is to get another representative to speak for you, so they can step back and say, "Hey, this guy is saying you can't go there, not me," and therefore they become. You're not attacking the Muslim, and the Muslim doesn't become the bad guy. This is the classic example, the pattern of how it happens all the time, no matter where it is. What they do, they try to form a close association with a very uber liberal person who has this great open compassion for everybody, apparently.
Like this guy.
Like this guy.
He's on every board in the world. This sucker is on the Human Rights
That's
Commission.
right. And this is the reason they get on these human rights commissions. And that is, if you want to know the classic.
Well, we'll bring that
style.
in. We're going to bring the Brotherhood plan in a little
Okay.
later and all of that.
All right. But the point being, and the learning point here is
teachable moment.
The teachable moment is, and we've seen this pattern over and over and over and over and over and over again, is to get someone else to say, "Hey, Tom, you go out there and you tell them that that's wrong."
Yeah, and we'll see when we start revealing his emails how he does that.
Yeah,
he's
it's very
good.
slick. It's very slick.
Oh,
it's
man,
a
he's
brilliant operation, actually.
Yeah,
it really is.
Hey, Mike, come to my screen. So the email that we sent out to promote the show, busted Muslim jihadis and radical leftists. So we've established, for the sake of the jury here, that a jihadi is somebody who simply is engaging in warfare. It could be ideological
One of the
warfare. It's
pillars of
typically holy
Islam,
warfare.
Trento. It is one of the pillars.
It's the sixth pillar, if there was a sixth one. And radical leftists. These are not people left of center, not Democrats that like unions and government control. These are people that hate America and want to remake. They hate borders. They don't want borders. They want a borderless country. They're citizens of the globe. Muslims make up a huge portion. They all want to be unified with the Muslim world in one big happy kind of situation.
One happy caliphate.
All right, so we have established their Muslim jihadis and radical leftists have joined together in an unholy alliance.
Now, a year ago, if you would have said that, people would have said you're crazy.
How the hell is that going to happen?
Why does that make sense? Why does that make any sense that the leftists and the radical Muslims are getting together? It makes no sense at all.
No, because their leftists are for gay stuff and this.
And they want to
whatever.
kill the gays.
Yep.
And it makes absolutely, and it's one of those things after a while, but it does start to make sense because they both hate America and want to see it destroyed. So therefore, the enemy of my enemy is my...
Yeah, friend, sure, of course.
For the moment.
For the moment.
If I feed the crocodile, it eat me last.
You would almost think we have a script and we write this stuff. The way
I know. You can't write this stuff.
No, you can't write it.
You really
can't.
can't.
All right, Mike, come back to me. The headline is critical. We want to establish the force of the headline. We've busted these guys. We're exposing them. Muslim jihadis and radical leftists. They target now the essence of these 7 emails that we're going to read for you and deconstruct. They're targeting a rabbi. They figure the way to stop Pamela, you're not going to target Pamela and say, stop doing that, you she-devil, stop doing that. That's not going to happen. And so they got to go after the weakest link. They perceive the rabbi of this synagogue as the weakest link.
And they're correct.
They're probably correct, yes.
I resemble that remark.
So they target the rabbi to stop Pamela Geller from speaking about what? Do you think if she was speaking about how to live in New York City on $10 a day, they'd be complaining?
No.
Her subject was Sharia, which is Islamic law.
Which she knows very well.
Why would you have Jewish women talking about Islamic law? Should not be allowed.
Okay, well, let's stop it here. All right, now we go down the email that we sent out, and we see that Mr. Habib Ahmed is the president-elect of the Islamic Center of Long Island. Now, what the heck is the Islamic Center? What is an Islamic Center, and what is the Islamic Center of Long Island? We'll get into that. But not only is he that, look at the next little ditty. He's a commissioner of the Human Rights Commission. So he sits, Mark, you've had experiences with Human Rights Commissions.
Oh, that's what they're targeting.
Yeah, quickly, tell everybody what a Human Rights Commission is.
Well,
Two-shot.
It's a typically an appointed position by either the mayor, and the mayor usually appoints them as their commission boards, and it's basically a rubber stamp, but then the commission has to accept it and everything.
Approve it and vote on
all
all
this.
this
But
stuff,
99 times out of 100, it's simply rubber stamp. The mayor appoints, and you're on a Human Rights Commission. It's a fluff commission, has no real power, but says who's violating human rights in our community. Okay.
Long Island has very long list of human rights violations.
Now, what they can do, they can impose. They give recommendations, impose fines, interfaith dialogue. So it's a perfect opportunity for the Brotherhood to get into, and that's where we see them keep going into. And Badir down in South Florida, he's the president of the Human Rights Commission. All the big bad Muslim Brotherhood people are getting on these Human Rights Commission. That's their endpoint to get into politics, to get to draft some influence into politicians so they can get their agenda pushed forward to show discrimination against Islam. It's always, they're the victims at all times. The Islamic culture is always the victims.
All right, here's what we're going to do, because good points. People are trying to call in. They're calling WNN. And WNN saying, oh, we can't help you out.
Go away.
All right, well, here's the deal. We no longer broadcast from WNN in Boca Raton, Florida. We broadcast from a bunker somewhere else, and we're in a television studio that we built. And remember that donation thing I spoke about a little earlier?
Yep.
Well, not sufficient number of donations have come in for us to actually be able to take call-ins, because you need some equipment that we don't
and we
own.
need personnel, too.
But we may be able to take this call, one of these callers, somebody who lives in Long Island and knows quite a bit about this.
Okay.
And we may be able to take that caller. We'll do that in the next hour.
We'll set that up at a break.
We'll set that up. So we'll have somebody from Long Island on later on who knows a lot about this issue. And we're bringing Michelle Bachman in after the break, where she gave a 4-minute speech at CPAC last year on this issue. But right now, let's go back to, I want to get into the emails a little bit before we take a break. Come back to my screen. And Mark just explained the whole Human Rights Commission phony baloney stuff. But these guys do carry some weight in terms of how they can screw your life up.
It's political influence.
Yeah.
And what it is, they put pressure on the mayors, and they're really going after the grassroots. That is their number one target, is on the city commissions.
All right, now look at the email. We want you to read Mr. Habib Ahmed's shocking, these are shocking, folks, emails of a coordinated Muslim leftist plan. And why are we saying that? Well, you're going to look at the organization's name. We put everybody's names out.
You make it bigger.
So what?
You make it bigger.
No, I can't.
Trumpless. No.
Yeah, no. It's a email thing. If you got a computer, you can see that pretty. I made a pretty big point size. This is a coordinated effort, and you can see by the names of the organizations. When we show you the emails, we're going to blow them up very big so you can see it clearly. A plan to stop counter-jihad activist Pamela Geller from speaking at a Jewish synagogue. This Muslim anti-free speech jihadi, that is Habib Ahmed, sits on the Nassau County Human Rights Commission's. Unbelievable. And we wrote here, the emails are in chronological order and reproduced in their entirety. No editing to the emails other than taking the bottom one, which was the first one, putting it at the top.
So you can actually read it.
Yeah, you're reading it in chronological order. Email 1, email 2, email 3. Let me start off with number 1. Just then, this will take us to the break. It's from Richard Tebbets, and he sends it to a bunch of people. We'll name them in a bit. And he copies Claire DeRoche. Remember that name, Claire DeRoche, key person in this leftist Islamic Sharia cabal. Dear TIALI board members. So this is going to the board members of this organization.
Interfaith is what that is.
Yeah, it's an interfaith organization. We'll tell you exactly what it is after the break. Claire DeRoche of UUCSR advised me Pamela Geller, founder of the organization Stop Islamization of America, will speak in Great Neck next month. Her talk, Imposition of Sharia in America. Oh my God, that's so bad. Imposition of Sharia in America. This is what's driving them crazy. Why? Because that's what they're trying to do. If this talk was on imposition of Cartoon Network in America, imposition of strawberries in America, it's the Sharia.
Yep,
because they're so frightened because they want to implement the Sharia. And it goes on to say when, where, all of that. You can check out her website. The writer goes on. He says, I've checked out the synagogue's website and found the following. So they've confirmed that they've listed it. And we'll go into a little more detail when we come back. Email 2 is from our buddy Habib Udin Ahmed. And he says, dear friends, dear friends, the individual we're talking about, folks, says, dear friends, we need to stop her coming to Great Neck. Do we do a petition on the stationery of the Council of Churches? Get them friggin' churches in there. The Interfaith Alliance and the Holocaust Center, her views are well known. She is the personification of an Islamophobe. Brothers and sisters, what do you think?
Habib.
Regards. Habib. We'll be back right after this. I'm going to check Habib out.
That's truly amazing. Truly amazing. Tom.
See you in a little bit.
Truly amazing, Tom. Amazing.
Okay. Good.
We're still live? We still live?
Yep, still live.
Can we go to...
Hi, I'm Tom Trento, and you are about to meet an amazing individual who's a Jewish American patriot. William Bill Langfan, 91 years old, was a very astute teenager in 1938 in America when he knew that Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain's trip to Munich, Germany to meet Adolf Hitler, to appease Adolf Hitler, was a mistake of historic proportions. Well, Bill Langfan today, through his life experiences, believes that President Obama's trip to Israel in March 2013 may also be a meeting of tragic proportions. Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Fine and dandy, thank you.
What are your primary concerns about President Obama's trip in March 2013?
That Israel should return to 1967 borders is a fatal approach to the Middle East problems.
We believe the borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps.
All right, well, what do you think the worst case consequences could be of the Obama policy implemented in Israel?
All that we have to do is take Gaza and multiply it by many-fold, and we can readily envision what will happen. For example, they can start shooting missiles from right next to Israel proper. Their airport would be vulnerable 24 hours a day. The airports for their planes would become unusable with streams of missiles falling there. How are planes going to take off? How are pilots going to get to the planes? This is what troubles me, and the idea of going back to 67, when the Palestinians expressed themselves in their charter 3 years before Israel had the West Bank. They specifically stated unequivocally in their 29-clause charter that the establishment of Israel is illegal and void, and that they were going to engage in armed resistance until Israel was destroyed.
Do you really remember 1938 and the meeting in Munich?
Absolutely. I remember very vividly, and I do wish that I could remember today things that happened yesterday the way I remember things of long ago. I was arguing very vociferously that Hitler has violated Versailles. He has violated almost any human thinking pertaining to Jews. How could anybody reasonably expect a man of this type to adhere to any type of agreement?
Bill, how'd you go from a teenager arguing against Hitler to finding yourself in the United States Army as one of the liberators at Buchenwald Nazi death camp? How did that happen?
I was at university, and on December 7th, 1941, everything changed very, very dramatically. I went through basic training, and And the next thing you know, I was in Liverpool. And we stayed there for a while, and all of a sudden, buzz bombs started coming over, and we were in the anti-aircraft part of the Army, and we were shooting against buzz bombs. And it was quite an experience. Then we were on our way to Normandy, and we landed in around Saint-Lô, which was the Omaha beachhead, and we still broken out of the hedgerows, and a few days after we landed at Normandy, we broke out of the hedgerows and started moving through France very, very quickly. We were with Patton's army. And before we know it, we were in Belgium. And we were at the middle of the Battle of the Bulge at Bastogne. And then we started going east through Germany. And all of a sudden, one day, we wound up at Buchenwald. And it was something that was beyond my imagination, what they told me.
It appeared that most of the men and boys had died of starvation. They had not been executed. But the manner of death seemed unimportant. Murder had been done at Buchenwald. God alone knows how many men and boys have died there during the last 12 years. As I left that camp, a Frenchman who used to work for Havas in Paris came up to me and said, "You will write something about this, perhaps." And he added, "To write about this, you must have been here at least 2 years. And after that, you don't want to write anymore."
So you have been in Buchenwald, in a Nazi death camp, and you've seen that horror up close, that evil. What is your comparison between Munich in 1938, the appeasement that started this war, and a possible Munich situation in 2013 when President Obama goes to Israel to pressure Israel to give up land for peace?
I see a similarity, and I feel a similarity, in that a major power, the United States, and the European EU, are pushing Israel into doing something which is very similar to what happened when the Sudetenland was given to Hitler. In this situation, major power, U.S.
I'm listening to that.
And the EU are trying to do exactly the same thing, and experience
You ready to make
with
the
the
second transition?
Palestinians indicates that they will do the same thing.
Cut off that screen. Cut off that screen. Go to Tom. Thank you. Tom, go. You're on.
All right, Tom Trento here on WNN 1470, WNN 1470 in Boca Raton, Florida. That's where we broadcast out of on the Beasley Broadcasting Company. I'm on Trento Vision. That's the name of the show. My name is Tom Trento, your host. But we're not in Boca Raton anymore. We're in a bunker somewhere else right now in a TV studio that we built. We thank you who have helped us build it. We appreciate that. We do all kinds of work on Trento Vision. We're associated with the United West, a counterterrorism organization that, as I've explained in the last hour, seeks to disrupt, disable, destroy the operations of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America. The Muslim Brotherhood is in America? Yes, the Muslim Brotherhood is operational in the United States of America in a whole variety of forms. And I am honored to be one of the authors of Sharia, The Threat to America, Sharia, The Threat to America, a definitive work that develops the history, the ideological composition, and the methodological implementation of a plan, a specific written in black and white in Arabic and then translated in English plan that the organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, the organization that now runs Egypt, soon to probably run Syria and Jordan and Gaza and a few other places, believes that is essential. The Brotherhood believes their plan is essential to instigate and initiate and implement the Sharia. The Sharia is Islamic law, basically. And peace comes about from the Brotherhood's point of view when everyone is in agreement that the Sharia are the rules of the game. The Sharia are in contradistinction to Article 6 of the Constitution and a whole lot of other things in the West and in America. In fact, right now in the legislature, in many legislatures around the United States, in particular up in Tallahassee here in Florida, we are moving ALAC, American Laws for American Courts, which includes no Sharia, Mamma Mia, no Sharia whatsoever, or no Italian law. I happen to be Sicilian, no Sicilian law, no Catholic law, no Jewish law, nothing but American law for American courts. It's pretty hard to understand. But the same folks that are opposed to having legislation that guarantees the rights of Americans to be heard by, adjudicated by American law are the same people that popped up in this email, folks. I guarantee you 99% of the names on these 7 emails, 99% are opposed to legislation that prohibits the Sharia from being considered, implemented, or involved in any way, shape, or form in American jurisprudence. They don't want to prohibit that. So that's what we do at the United West. Well, we used to run around the country making a lot of noise and waking people up, but we felt it was more efficient, and we're still going to be doing that. We felt it's more efficient to put the donation money into a gigantic megaphone that reaches literally tens of thousands of people a day. We broadcast from Miami to Orlando. That's just on the radio side. When we go to the internet side with TrentoVision.tv, iHeartRadio, and all these other modalities, these social networking modalities, we start hitting a lot of people. In fact, our videos have hit millions upon millions of people. We just showed you one that hit 250,000 people. So, and in that work, we have spent a lot of time with people in the intelligence community, law enforcement, and you know, once in a while things come our way through whatever means possible. And we got our hands on some internal emails. Let the people, you know what? Oh, you're reading our emails. Oh, yeah, we're reading. Not me. The world is reading your emails because we're exposing it. Oh, we're going to sue you. Tom Trento, you know.
Stand in line.
Yeah, I'm real easy to find. And a word of warning to those of you going, we've got to sue this guy, you know. I have nothing, so you're going to get nothing, okay? I'm suit-proof that way. You sue me, my donations are going to go through the roof, I'll tell you right now. Yeah,
don't throw me in the briar patch, Mr. Wolf.
Yeah. The donations will go through the roof. And more importantly, you sue me, guess what? There's a little thing called discovery. And we get to peek. You can peek in my life. It's an open book. We get to peek into your life.
Yeah,
and usually the people that are very mad at us don't want anybody peeking into their life. It's kind of how they roll. So think twice before you,
as Clint Eastwood said,
save your money. Right?
As Clint Eastwood said,
yeah, make my day.
No,
I'm not. Instigating a lawsuit. I'm just laying out a disclaimer. I'm just laying out a disclaimer that it's foolish, particularly on these First Amendment issues.
Bring it on.
And what's in any event, what we're doing, folks, today, we've discovered internal communications between Muslim jihadis, people who have a jihad, a desire to have Sharia law implemented worldwide, to establish an ummah caliphate at some point, maybe new words to some people here. Hang with us, watch the show, read our stuff. You'll learn about all this. Have joined with the left, the hard left in this country. And now they are going after a rabbi, a poor little rabbi in Long Island who just wants to, run a synagogue. And in that synagogue, a group of men invited, or a men's group invited Pamela Geller, who is a controversial figure, to speak there on the Sharia, the Sharia's implementation in America. And
hello.
Hang on.
Stu Kaufman.
Yeah, don't talk yet. Can you hear me, Stu?
It's I can't really understand what you're saying.
Okay, hang on. We'll sort it out. We don't want you on yet. You may have to go work on that thing. Now hang on, Stu. If you can hear me, don't say anything yet. We have an individual calling in from Long Island who has been involved, I think, with this synagogue, and we're going to get a first. Oh, God.
That's okay.
Okay, everybody's okay. I'm okay. Going to get a firsthand information from this individual. But right now, I want to go back to the email. And for those of you just joining us, Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470. We're doing an expose on some internal emails that the left, political left, and the Islamic Sharia Muslims joining together to target a rabbi to make him reject Pamela Geller from speaking in his synagogue. How bizarre is that? That's what we're talking about. And before we start, I know we're having more and more Muslim folks join in. Are you? Oh, no, you're busy over there. All right, I'll go right to the email. Mike, if you could come to my page, please. All right, I'll make this a little bigger for everybody.
Actually,
we have all kinds of capabilities here.
On net too. Well, we got it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right, now what we're doing, folks, we are now taking a look at a series of emails. And if you're watching on TrentoVision.tv, you can read them. I put them right up for you to read. We sent them out to the world in an emailer earlier today. And we're going to go through them to show you the internal collusion of leftist organizations and Muslim organizations to deny a American citizen her right to speak in a synagogue. I mean, this is really what this boils down to.
Oh, it totally is.
If you cut all the nonsense out, Pamela Geller is a United States citizen, a Jewish woman. She's been invited to speak in a Jewish synagogue.
Right.
And the last I looked, there ain't no laws against that. The last I looked, Muslims want to make laws against that if the speech is in any way, shape, or form critical to Islam. Mark, do you have our favorite book yet?
Sharia.
Yeah, if you can cue up blasphemy, we're gonna show that. We're gonna deal with that in a second. Yeah, that's the Islamic law book, Reliance of the Traveler. I'm gonna read before we do the email here. Before we do that, are you queued up now on our little rap song for our viewers and listeners? Okay. Is that going to mess you up if you go to that?
No.
Okay. What we're doing, we're showing a minute or so each of our 3 hours. Carolyn Glick, and we're showing it on purpose because we have a lot of Muslim folks joining with us, and I don't know if they're happy or not about President Obama's trip to Israel. I thought he said some wonderful stuff. I don't trust President Obama as far as I can throw him, and skinny little rail he may be.
And what he does are two different things.
So what he said, and I tried very objectively, I said, if that were coming out of the lips of Ronald Reagan, what would I say? I'd say that's pretty good stuff. But I know his agenda, I know what he's like, so I don't trust what he says.
Ronald Reagan would never
No, some of it I
would
qualified
never in a
it.
million years blame not having the state for, you know.
I qualified it. I said some.
Come on, Tom.
Some was good. So
you're going to turn to the liberal here pretty
So,
soon.
but I think a lot of Muslims, while there was rioting in some of the cities, are upset with him that he's not hard enough on the Jews, the Zionist Jews. So we thought, as an homage to a group of people you may not like, particularly on Pesach, Passover, we'd like you to take a little look at the IDF. Some of the boys over at the IDF put a little rap video together through Carolyn Glick's direction, and I will show it to you whenever we're ready to show it in a minute or two. But until then, let me tell you about a couple of other things as they're queuing that video up. We mentioned in the first segment that in our discovery, and we're just scratching the surface of all the stuff that's going on in Nassau, Long Island. But we discovered, we discovered that Daisy Khan, the wife of Imam Faisal Rauf of Ground Zero fame, Park 51, Daisy Khan's uncle is the subject of our expose today, Mr. Habib Ahmed. She's his niece. So it's all in the family, folks. Take a look at the IDF.
So let me hear you say that I'm a criminal of war. Come on, little punk, that's what you came here for. Take a photo, you can stage it if it's necessary. Should I make an expression that is really scary? Bigger than you, we're here and disappeared. Not to mention smarter, but that's no big deal. So deceived and naive, whatever you achieve, as much as you lie, you're dust on my sleeve. For 4,000 years, this country's been mine. That's before your great-grandmother wore diapers and wine. Open a book, it's not a big mystery, though I'm sure you failed the test in history. When force is not an option, you refer to scam. But frankly, you bug, I don't give a damn of your ignorant opinion or what you think about me. I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. Let me tell you what to condemn the 10 plagues. I think Moses should be brought to their Hague. Let my people go. Declaration full of vanity, boils and hail. Now that's a crime against humanity. The name of this place, Judea, rings a bell. Shut down your camera and operate your cells. 2 + 2, I know it's hard for you to beat, so exaggerate, manipulate, I don't give a shift. Now back to Samaria, what you call the PA, the place of King David, all the prophets, and hey, Jesus was here. But I hate to break it to you, I heard an awful rumor, they say he was a Jew. So don't let me interrupt you, do the job for what you hired. With your organizations, you really got me tired. The bottom line is, though it's painful to see, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be.
Yeah. I think our jihadis like that little video, don't they?
I hate it.
Oh, well, let me introduce for us on a 2-shot. Here's J. Mark Campbell. Usually, ladies and gentlemen, behind the camera, making everything work.
Also known as the Fat CJ.
And CJ's not with us today. She's getting all her stuff in order for this season. I'm a Christian. This is the Passover dinner for Christians. I usually go to some Seders. But CJ is my co-host, Jewish woman. Mark's a Unitarian. Your Unitarian buddies, Mark, got busted in this email chain.
I want to clarify something. Okay, there are Unitarians, and then there are Unitarian Universalists. I am the former, not the latter.
Okay.
And so there is...
You're disassociating yourself from your homies. No big deal.
No, they're not my homies because they have gone off the reservation way too far for me even to be involved with them anymore.
All right. Well, let's... I'd like to bring Stuart in if we have him. which will be a good overview to the information here. Stuart, can you hear me?
Yes, it sounds like you're in the middle of an echo chamber,
Yeah,
but
well,
yes,
that's
I
all
hear
right.
you.
Hey, send us some money. We'll fix that.
Send
Back
money,
off.
and we'll fix it. I will speak slowly, and I'm going to let you speak because we can hear you very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say your first name. You can say your last if you want, but you do work with us. What are you pointing to?
The mic is covered up. That's the reason you can't hear us.
Oh, hang on. We're straightening the mic out. You do some work with us at the United West, and you're a long-time Long Island native, and from what I understand, you attended this synagogue in question in Great Neck?
Correct.
All right. Why don't you pick it up from there and share your thoughts on everything you've heard us talk about and what you know about this situation?
Okay. I was a member of the Great Neck Synagogue for 37 years until I recently migrated south. I was also a member of the board for much of that time. So I know Great Neck Synagogue pretty darn well. There's one correction I'd like to make, however. Before you were talking about the rabbi is Great Neck Synagogue, Rabbi Polikoff, and you were saying that what they were doing was targeting the weak link, and that the weak link is Rabbi Polikoff. I just want to make one correction. Rabbi Polikoff is no one's weak link. He's a strong guy, and he doesn't bow to injustice. I just wanted to make sure that people know that this is not a weakling we're talking about. That same thing goes for Great Neck Synagogue. Great Neck Synagogue is comprised of a membership that a wide spectrum of political beliefs. But it is not a place where a controversy becomes bitter and personal. It's a very welcoming, wonderful place, and debate and discussion is always encouraged there. And that's what the context is in terms of this invitation, extended by the men's club of Great Neck Synagogue. And understand, I don't know how it works in churches, but in synagogues, certainly Great Neck Synagogue, rabbi is the spiritual authority of the synagogue. But the rabbi has no involvement whatsoever in things other than the spiritual guidance for the synagogue. The men's club invitation to Pamela Geller is not only part of the rabbi's brief, but the rabbi has absolutely no authority and would not try to extend authority to the decision of who should be invited to speak there. So I just want to make that clear.
Okay, hang on. Can you hear me, Stuart?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's an important organizational distinction. Did you have a chance to go through the 7 emails to see how they plotted and connived?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was outrageous. Firstly, and I don't know if you intended to announce this later on, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but you talked about Daisy Kahn, and it's very interesting that Daisy Kahn spoke at the Unitarian Universalist Church in, I believe it's in Mineola, I think it is, or in Roslyn. One of the people who was on that email, I forget her name now, but you mentioned it before, Claire something, is an officer of that church, and they invited Daisy Kahn, the wife of Imam Raouf, to speak at that church, and I don't recall anybody trying to prevent them from having her speak.
Exactly.
And Pamela Geller is a heroine, and she's been cast in the guise of a villainess.
She-devil.
People try to talk to her about it, to call her a Nazi and all these things, but she's standing up for all of us and for all of our rights. And I will wager that there is no way, especially now, that the Great Neck Synagogue would make any attempt to cancel Pamela's appearance at Great Neck.
Okay.
Right. The opposite.
Hallelujah.
I don't know. When you look at some of the names on the emails and some of their organizations, and you see that Habib Ahmed is also a commissioner on the Human Rights Commission in Nassau County. I mean, these are serious political appointments. You usually have political juice. So you can leverage your political appointments with people in the men's group. You know, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on.
Well, it's really interesting that this guy Ahmed chose to put under his signature not only the fact that he is first vice president of the Islamic Center of Nassau County, but also added his title. Now, the only way one should add a title, a municipal title or a political title to any letter, is if he's acting officially. If this was not an official act of his as the Commissioner of Human Rights of Nassau County, I believe that's a firing offense. He has no business trying to assert himself as Commissioner of Human Rights and preventing Pamela Geller from speaking, and he goes and signs an email with his title on it as if he's acting in his official capacity as an officer of Nassau County. That's outrageous.
That is an excellent point, and ladies and gentlemen, our speaker on the phone, who was a member 37 years of the synagogue we're talking about in Great Neck, is also an attorney. So he just explained that when you put your signature and the organization, a governmental organization, quasi-governmental organization, on your letterhead, you're functioning de facto as a representative of that organization. So he's bringing the full weight of the Nassau County Human Rights Commission to bear in trying to mobilize this cabal of people on this 7-email chain to go and target the rabbi.
Oh, it's a deliberate attempt.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful coordinated effort.
And when we go to the email, you can actually really see that.
Well, why don't we do that?
Why don't we go to that email, Tom?
All right, Stuart, anything else you have? We're going to let you go, and really appreciate your insight into all of this, your personal insight.
Well, there's one other thing I'd like to exhort your audience, and that is this is only the latest in a long chain of attempts to intimidate and to stop people from speaking who speak the truth. At Brooklyn College, they tried to do it. At Florida Atlantic University, they tried to do it. They did it in Boca Raton, and it's going on all over the country. I'm right here, right now, at this moment, take a stand. Dig your heels in. Do not allow any more of this intimidation. Punch them in the mouth. Stop this nonsense right now. Let them know that we will not take it any longer.
All right, Stewie, thank you very much for your input and your exhortation to not take this crap, because it's so completely ridiculous. And when you're on the right side of history, you're on the right side of the law, you're on the right side of logic, you're on the right side of God, on the right side of everything, why wouldn't you take a stand? Why wouldn't you march forward? Why wouldn't you fight? Because you're afraid. Well, you got nothing to fear.
And if you're Muslim, you're an apostate.
Yeah, right. Anyway, yeah. All right, let's go right to the email and get into some of the meat of this. Mike, if you can come to my screen. Email number 1. I'll blow it up even a little bigger
that's good, Tom.
The folks can see it.
They can see it fine.
Yeah, it was a little too big, that one. All right, what we're doing is this. It is 30 minutes after 4 o'clock on the East Coast. We're at the bottom of the hour. Tom Trento, your host on Trento Vision. Co-hosting today is not CJ, but J. Mark. JC. Not CJ, but JC is here.
Yeah,
hey,
JC,
there we go.
I'm the inverse of CJ.
There you go.
In more than one way.
And we got the boys on the other side running the board. It is, what's that?
That's what's being broadcast.
Okay, good. You're going to roll with it? Is that what you're doing?
No, that's the in.
Oh, that's what it looks like. Okay.
There's so many buttons over here. I just don't know what to do.
Well, for the driving audience, for those of you just tuning into TrentoVision.tv on WNN 1470, we're now going to walk through a series of emails exposing a joining together.
A cabal.
The group is a cabal, but they joined together, this group, to target a rabbi in Great Neck, put pressure on him to what?
No, I was just blatantly. I was just saying underneath my mouth. It's a blatant.
Oh, blatantly, yeah.
A blatant attack on one rabbi, and this is how. And this is, very rarely do we get the whole email chain and how it gets manifest from start to end. This is such a classic, 100% classic example of how this happens from the Human Rights Commission position to put pressure on a synagogue, or on anyone for that matter, to get them to cave to the Islamic demands.
Yep,
this is exactly how it works.
Now, email number 1, and we have not, typically at the United West Trento Vision, you're looking at the screen, we check out, we have ways of checking out all of these names on here. Bob Nuxall, Dolores Tebbets, Elaine Peters, Farouk Khan, Habib Ahmed, Marty Melkonian, Paul Auerbach, Claire DeRoche that Stuart spoke about. We haven't gone into all the names yet because we got this intelligence just a little while before we came on the air. It's from Richard Tebbets. So I don't know that much about Richard Tebbets, but we will in the near future. We'll know everything we can about Richard Tebbets. He initiates this and he sends it to some key people. And we know Habib Ahmed is a key individual because he responded. And we know Claire, who was copied, Claire DeRoche. Now, Abdullah,
yes.
What do you know about Claire DeRoche?
She is with the Unitarian Universal.
Unitarian Universalist, right.
And she works in their social justice.
So she's with the Unitarian Universalist
Social
Organization
Justice.
and Social Justice. So that's the UUCRS. If you can check out the
Unitarian
exact
Universalist, whatever the CS.
Well, yeah, if you can check out the exact name and the TIA-LI board members. LI's Long Island. TIA, what is that? That's the interfaith.
The interfaith.
Yeah. So it's being written to the, but I want to know the exact. We couldn't get everything before we came on, but we know enough about it.
The Interfaith Alliance Long Island chapter.
The Interfaith Alliance. So they use the T. The Interfaith Alliance Long Island chapter.
So this could be TTT. This could be the Tom Trento Show.
Oh, yeah. So Claire DeRoche. So he's writing to all the board members of the Interfaith Alliance. Mark, well, we already talked about interfaith. Claire DeRoche of the Unitarian Universalist Organization advised Robert Tibbets that Pamela Geller, so Claire initiated all of this. Claire DeRoche, who Stuart just spoke about. Claire said, Pamela Geller's coming. We got a problem, folks. And Robert Tibbets writes, Pamela Keller's coming. She's going to be here Sunday morning, April 14th, 10 o'clock, Great Neck Synagogue, presented by the Great Neck Synagogue Men's Club. Stuart just explained the administrative structure. But the Men's Club is separate from the authority of the rabbi. But methinks if the rabbi didn't want something to happen, they'd be hard-pressed to not listen to him unless they wanted to stand their ground.
Can I read you something off of the?
Well, hold on, real quick, Mike. Go to Net2, and the That's who instigated the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Shelter Rock.
And what is that?
The Unitarian Universalist of that's the UU.
The brightness is too high.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. But as long as you get the UU.
Go to my screen instead.
Yeah.
Go to,
so that's what the US. That's what they are.
And what are they? So is there a little like about us?
Yeah, let me read you a little something off
go
of
ahead.
here. This is off of the Unitarian Universalist.
Now, for the audience listening and watching, this is where the whole campaign to stop Pamela Geller started. Go ahead.
It's right here.
Okay, and this is right off of their website, Social Justice Activities, and Claire DeRoche is involved with the social justice. And right above the article I'm going to read you is raise the minimum wage in New York State. Just below that, many faces of Islam. What determines the rights of women? Great religion to determine the rights of women.
Right.
Date March 19th, so this is Tuesday this week.
Yeah.
Event place, the worship room with Daisy Khan,
Who?
Daisy
Khan.
Oh my gosh, she's
wife
popping up all
of
over. Imam Raouf,
the Ground Zero
Mosque guy, right.
who is currently, what's going on with Imam Rauf, Tom?
The guy's a perp, man. He's being investigated for absconding with the donations for
took
building.
the money and ran.
Yes, he did.
Thank you very much.
This stuff needs disinfectant,
so let me just give
man.
it's
This
just a
stuff
few
needs to be
sentences.
exposed.
Here, Daisy Khan's presentation will examine why Muslim women's status differs from country to country.
Yeah.
She will explore why 6 Muslim women have become heads of state while others are still unable to drive, and how men distort scripture to justify girls/women access to
They
education.
distort scriptures. Okay.
Ms. Khan's worked with the American government, the United Nations, and leaders worldwide to spread awareness of progressive Islamic values. Her insights will help us better understand the diversity within the Muslim world and enable us to support universal rights of women. Ms. Khan will be writing a book about Muslim women as agents of change.
And here's another, a very important learning lesson here again. These guys are nothing but, it's just a small, on the email chain, there's 7 of them, right?
7 emails, yes.
There's 7 email chains. And these little 7 people in New York City, of how many millions of people in New York City? Millions and millions and millions.
Yes.
They're determining the public policy for the entire state.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Yeah.
It's just doesn't take that much. These little punks and thugs, are taking over New York because they go out there and they get a hold of some imam who blesses them and who's trying to corrupt them, and they get on their holy social justice bandwagon, and they take over the whole state of New York because then the media picks up on it. And people, this is how it happens. It doesn't take a lot of people. And so if you're thinking that it's millions of people who are feeling this way, you're wrong. It's 7.
Yep.
Can I read you one more thing about the UU CSR?
Sure, go ahead.
They have a link. They have an actual arm that basically helps with the UN, and this is right off of the UUCSR website again. UU, United Nations Office, so it's UU-UNO. The United Nations provides an area for enacting the 6th principle of Unitarian Universalism, quote, to affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, unquote. Unitarian Universalist United Nations Office, the Unitarian Universalist United Nations Office depends on its members, individuals, youth, and whole congregations to be UN advocates in their communities. I'm not even going to finish.
Well, yeah.
I don't even need to finish.
Well, no,
Well,
the gist of it. Hang on, because we got.
no,
I'm watching the clock. We got a ton of stuff.
This is the
Real
reason I
quickly.
left the Unitarian Universalists, and I'm still a Unitarian, but not just because of these little leftist socialist.
You're going to be out of
people.
there in a couple of weeks anyway.
Really makes me mad.
Go to the big picture here, folks, and we're gonna try to get all of this in our short show today. We're looking at a graphic illustration of an effort to implement Sharia law and suppress free speech in America. That's the essence. But this starts at a global level with the OIC, Organization for Islamic Cooperation.
Right, and that is exactly what ties in to this UUCSR doing the bidding of the UN and the OIC.
Right.
The OIC ties into the United Nations, which is tied into the Unitarian Universalists, which is tied into, come back to my screen. Watch
I
this.
knew I liked this J. Mark Campbell.
Yeah. Watch this screen. All right, now Richard Tibbetts is the secretary of the Interfaith Alliance Long Island chapter, the TIA, that we just looked at. Watch what happens when you click on, and I'm doing this for our people driving, I'm clicking on a link. You can go to Trento Vision this evening. Watch this. It's very cool stuff. I'm going to click on that link, Interfaith Alliance. Watch where it goes to. Check this out. This is the Interfaith Alliance Long Island chapter website that Richard Tibbetts, who initiated the email chain that we're talking about. We're doing some investigative work here, folks. We're laying out, we're connecting the dots. This is what our intelligence agencies should be doing. And we're showing that Tibbetts, this is the next organizational meeting, Thursday, October 25th. They're a little behind on their
scheduling.
On their website. Yeah, maybe it's the next one, or they haven't updated it. But look at the subject matter they have here. September 19th, Islam for Open-Minded Americans, presented by Bob Nuxall. Where'd you see that name before?
On your emails.
On the emails. So all of these people are completely one little group.
One little cabal of 7 of them.
Yep, it's a tiny little group, but they're connected and they make a lot of noise. They're having the improv theater they did in Long Island, and they had a presentation of Islam. I mean, they're Islam files. They call us Islam phobes. They're an Islam file, a lover of Islam, regardless of whatever the theology or doctrine says. Now let's go to email number 2. Back to that.
And we're only email number 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Now email number 2 comes from our subject today, Habib Ahmed. Ahmed. He's the subject because he's the big kahuna here. He's the guy with the juice. Yeah. He's on Mike.
Juice?
How many
he
boards?
Has the juice?
Mike, how many boards did you find him on?
Yeah, how many?
He's on plenty of boards.
And we'll get a little background in Chicago. It looks like.
He went to Chicago University.
Got to get closer to the mic.
He got his PhD there.
Close.
He got his PhD there, Chicago University.
It's not on.
Then I don't know what to tell you. Mike's down.
Okay. PhD at where? Chicago University.
Yeah. Chicago
Use that mic over there.
Go ahead.
And he's on the anti-bias crime board in Nassau County, along with a bunch of others. But it seems like he has a history running from Chicago to Nassau with all the Muslim officials of the city.
In Chicago,
and they've met with some pretty heavy people.
And so this goes all the way back.
So now we got a Chicago connection.
This is going all the way back to the White House.
We got a Chicago.
These must be your friends, Trento.
This is going all the way back to.
All right, now Habib Ahmed writes and says, "Dear friends, we need to stop her coming to Great Neck. ... Now he's actually very good because he comes right out. We need to stop her from coming to Great Neck. That statement right there
is incriminating evidence right there.
Well, yeah, it's there's I don't think there's a violation of any law going on here.
Preventing her free speech.
Well, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I mean,
we need to shut her up.
Yeah, but it
please do.
It reveals their grand plan. This is what they want to do.
That is the overall agenda there.
If we had Habib on the phone, and maybe we'll try calling him. If we had Habib on the phone and said, "Is your goal? Would America be better if you can stop every person you believed was insulting the Prophet or improperly criticizing Islam? Would America be a better place?"
You mean apostasy, Tom?
This is a great question, Mr. Habib, and somebody ought to ask this damn guy this question, Mr. Habib Ahmed. Do you think America would be better if there was a law prohibiting Pamela Geller and Frank Gaffney and Robert Spencer and all the people that they're mad at?
Well, we know that. We saw in the
let me finish. It's a rhetorical question
I know.
for dramatic effect. Okay? Mr. Habib Ahmed, would the United States, because watch how we nail Habib with his own logic. Would the United States be a better, more friendly, more loving, more interfaith place if there was a law prohibiting Pamela Geller and others like her, Islamophobes, from speaking in a negative, blasphemous, and critical way against Islam? Would America be better? What do you think his answer is going to be?
Well, he'll lie. He'll say one thing, but
if he says no, then say, "Get the hell out of here. Leave her alone."
Leave her alone. Yeah, but
but she has to be stopped this time.
Right.
He will be crushed in by his own logic because the Sharia is an obligation of Muslims, and democracy is an acceptance of a particular lifestyle. We're not obligated to be democratic. They're obligated to follow the Sharia if you want to be a Muslim. So he would say, if he's honest, yes, America would be better if no one could speak ill of Islam. What does that book say?
Well, what guys happen?
You got to speak right on the mic here.
If you're an apostate, it says,
"I kill you."
Book of Justice, certified and codified by the Islamics.
We stipulate it's the law book for Islam.
No,
it's
it is.
Reliance of the
For
Tribe.
North America, written by the Fiqh Council.
Show
North
it
America.
to us.
No, we stipulate all that. Go ahead.
There is no indemnity for killing an apostate. All right. or any since
No. I don't want apostasy. Blasphemy.
Well, this is blasphemy is speaking ill of Islam.
Yeah, but there's a whole section on blasphemy that says you can't slander. It's called slander. Look up slander. We'll move on. The slander is the one I'm looking for. I'm sorry.
Actually, apostasy is speaking ill of Islam.
Yeah, but the one that fits
apostasy is leaving Islam.
The one that fits in context.
It's speaking ill of Islam.
The one that fits in context is slander. That's what I was looking for.
Blasphemy.
All right, let me read. No, slander. It's 819, I think. Dear friends, we need to stop her from coming to Great Neck. This is Habib Ahmed speaking. He is the president-elect of the Islamic Center of Great Neck, and he is the one of the commissioners of the Human Rights Commission of Nassau County. We need to stop her, Pamela Geller, from coming to Great Neck. Do we do a petition on the stationery of the Council of Churches? So he's rolling out the churches to get their strength, because he knows Muslim strength is nothing. The Interfaith Alliance and the Holocaust Center. Let's get the Interfaith Alliance, that phony baloney group we just looked at.
Wait a second. Did you say the Holocaust Center?
The Holocaust Center. Bring the Jews in here.
Why would the Holocaust Center want to keep Pam Geller from speaking? I don't understand that.
Obviously, people in the Holocaust Center are dhimmis. That is, people following the direction of Muslims that want to lead them down the primrose path. And otherwise, they would not mention that. But now the Holocaust Center needs to be peeked at if they popped up on here.
Yep, exactly.
Her views are well known. She is the personification of an Islamophobe! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Brothers and sisters, what do you think?
A term created by the OIC, by the way.
Yeah, the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, in a very good move of propaganda, coined Islamophobe, like homophobe.
Like you.
Like me. And it's signed Habib U. Ahmed, first vice president. But now he's the president-elect, actually. Islamic Center of Long Island, 835 Brush Hollow Road, West Perry, New York. Commissioner, Human Rights Commission, Nassau County. And there's his phone number.
Shall I call him?
If we had a phone, we'll make a decision in the halftime here. If we can get a phone that works, we will give him a call for sure.
I would like to call him myself to see how I can assist.
The next email, number 3, is Robert Tebbets sends a mass email out to about 10 or 15 people. Habib Ahmed responds. What do we do, folks? Claire DeRoche, who really initiated all of this, responds. And she says, subject, Pamela Geller to speak in Great Neck, date, all that. And Claire DeRoche says, the group I was speaking with last night who gave me this information suggested contacting other rabbis in the area who would then contact the Great Neck Synagogue. Let's get the dumb Jews fighting against the Jews. That's what Claire is saying here. They also talked about contacting the chief rabbi of the big synagogue in Manhattan and asking him to contact the Great Neck Synagogue. Now, I believe that is a very prominent Mark. If we had a phone, Mark, he's a very prominent, very close to President Obama, very prominent rabbi in Manhattan. And so they are so upset, they being Claire DeRoche and the interfaith folks and all the Muslims. I wouldn't doubt if Claire is a Muslim. They want to reach out to the top guy in Manhattan, which is a different borough, to go over to Long Island and shut down a rabbi in Long Island.
Right.
Unbelievable.
The little seven cabal wants to spread as much power as they can with.
Warm regards, Claire DeRoche, Social Justice Coordinator, UUCSR. You got slander? Yeah, why don't you do slander?
We have mentioned above that slander is saying anything about a person that he would disagree, whether aloud or in writing, or by a sign or by a gesture. Anything by which one can.
What?
Anything.
Wait. Read that over again. Slander is what? And slander is against the Sharia.
Well, actually, no. This is actually just against a Muslim.
No, but slander is against Sharia. I mean, it's in the book, so you're not supposed to slander.
Yeah, you're not supposed to slander.
Okay.
Say anything bad about
You got to really stay on. Yeah, I mean,
okay,
you got to stay glued to this thing.
Actually, fine. We have mentioned above that slander is saying anything about a person that he would dislike.
Okay, that works real well in America.
I love that definition.
Yeah, that works real well in America.
We have mentioned above that slander is saying anything about a person that he would dislike.
Like Pamela Geller speaking at...
whether aloud in writing, by a sign, or by a gesture, anything by which one conveys a Muslim shortcomings to another, slander and unlawful.
Oh my God!
So you say anything, and actually, because it includes doing imitations of someone, such as walking with a limp, with a stoop, or similar postures, and tending to mimic the person.
You're
with
dead
such
meat, Abdullah.
Person with such deficiency. Anything of this sort is unquestionably unlawful.
You all go to jail.
Well, actually, slander is actually punishable by death.
Oh, you all go to the gallows.
Okay, well, look at so we've established from the Islamic law book doctrine, folks. We're not making this up. This is doctrine. If you want to be a good Muslim, you got to follow this book. Okay, you can make believe that you don't have to follow Islamic law to be a good Muslim. You can make believe you can do whatever you want and believe whatever you want to be a good Muslim. You can make believe. That's not reality. The people that want to kill you and the people who want to destroy the country, and the last count in the United States, 25% of all Muslims 18 to 35 years old agree with Al-Qaeda's view of blowing things up to implement Sharia and establish the caliphate, and 25% more, total of 50% of all Muslims 18 to 35 support Al-Qaeda blowing something up to implement Sharia. Okay? That's probably close to 500,000 Muslims in the United States of America when you do the demographic analysis. But we just established through Sharia law that anyone who slanders, if you say something the Muslim doesn't like, that's slander, and you're not supposed to say that, is in violation of Sharia law. Therefore, if you're a Muslim, you have to stop that. Thus, extrapolating a bit, no Pamela Geller at Great Neck Synagogue.
And this is not our opinion. This is jurisprudence. There is no doubt that this translation is a valuable and important work, whether as a textbook for teaching Islamic jurisprudence to English speakers, or as a legal reference used by scholars, educated laymen, and students in the language. Signed by the Fiqh Council North America, the jurisprudential body of North America.
Unbelievable. Now go back to my screen. We got 1 minute left, Mike. I want to leave everybody with this. And Michelle Bachman in the next hour, a video of her. We don't have her here, but we're going to show you a very interesting video on point. But look at the bottom of Claire DeRoche's email. She has one of those disclaimers. This email may contain confidential and privileged material for the sole use of the intended recipients. Any review, use, distribution, or disclosure of any others is strictly prohibited.
Oh, yeah.
If you are not the intended recipient, I don't know if I'm not. How do I know you?
Or
authorized to receive
intended
for the
recipients
recipient,
of this email, Tom.
please contact the sender by reply email and delete all copies of this message. I was going to write, my name and number to contact, but sorry, Claire. If you got a problem with exposing your position, let's go to her website. There's her website, holding hands and loving everybody and peace and justice.
I'd like to see your Claire school this Claire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Claire versus Claire.
I mean, this. Let me wind this up, guys. Let me wind this up. This is Claire DeRoche's public view. Leave it right there. A public view of how great her work is, and privately, she doesn't want you seeing these emails that have gone out to hundreds of people. So, sorry, Claire. Contact us if you got a problem with that. All right, right now, folks, we got to take another break. We're rolling through these hours. We're gonna have Dr. Andy Bostom in this half. We're gonna show you Michelle Bachman. We're gonna finish the letters. We're gonna make some application, and we're gonna challenge you people in New York to clean up the mess you got up there. We'll be right back. I love these kind of shows.
So let me hear you say that I'm a criminal of war. Come on, little punk, that's what you came here for. Take a photo, you can stage it if it's necessary. Should I make an expression that is really scary? Bigger than you, we're here and disappeared. Neither mentioned smarter, but that's no big deal. So deceived and naive, whatever you achieve, as much as you lie, you're dust on my sleeve. For 4,000 years this country's been mine. That's before your great-grandmother wore diapers and wine. Open a book, it's not a big mystery, though I'm sure you failed the test in history. When force is not an option, you refer to scam. But frankly, you bug, I don't give a damn of your ignorant opinion or what you think about me. I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. Let me tell you what condemn the 10 plagues. I think Moses should be brought to their Hague. Let my people go. Declaration full of vanity, boils and hell. Now that's a crime against humanity. The name of this place, Judea, rings a bell. Shut down your camera and operate yourself. 2 + 2, I know it's hard for you to beat, so exaggerate, manipulate, I don't give up. Shift now back to Samaria, which you call the PA, the place of King David, all the prophets, and hey, Jesus was here. But I hate to break it to you, I heard an awful rumor, they say he was a Jew. So don't let me interrupt you, do the job for what you hired. With your organizations, you really got me tired. The bottom line is, though it's painful to see, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. I ain't gonna move this time, no use. I've taken enough of your twists and abuse. Every time you come in different forms in disguise. Purity of race, human rights, all your lies. So ride by, inside with me it's fine. Do your little job, I'll keep doing mine. From the mountains of Galilee, from desert to sea, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. אין לי ארץ אחרת. So let me hear you say that I'm a criminal of war. Come on, little punk, that's what you came here for. Take a photo, you can stage it if it's necessary. Should I make an expression that is really scary? Bigger than you, we're here and disappeared. Neither mentioned smarter, but that's no big deal. So deceived and naive, whatever you achieve, as much as you lie, you're dust on my sleeve. For 4,000 years this country's been mine. That's before your great-grandmother wore diapers and wine. Open a book, it's not a big mystery, though I'm sure you failed the test in history. When force is not an option, you refer to scam. But frankly, you bug, I don't give a damn of your ignorant opinion or what you think about me. I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. Let me tell you what condemn the 10 plagues. I think both should be brought to their Hague. Let my people go. Declaration full of vanity, boils and hell. Now that's a crime against humanity. The name of this place, Judea, rings a bell. Shut down your camera and operate yourself. 2 + 2, I know it's hard for you to beat, so exaggerate, manipulate, I don't give a shift. Now back to Samaria, which you call the PA, the place of King David, all the prophets, and hey, Jesus was here. But I hate to break it to you, I heard an awful rumor, they say he was a Jew. So don't let me interrupt you, do the job for what you hired. With your organizations, you really got me tired. The bottom line is, though it's painful to see, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. I ain't gonna move this time, no use. I've taken enough of your twists and abuse. Every time you come in different forms in disguise. Purity of race, human rights, all your lies. So ride by inside with me, it's fine. Do your little job, I'll keep doing mine. From the mountains of Galilee, from desert to sea, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. אין לי ארץ אחרת. So let me hear you say that I'm a criminal of war. Come on, little punk, that's what you came here for. Take a photo, you can send it if it's necessary. Should I make an expression that is really scary? Bigger than you, we're here and disappeared. Not to mention smarter, but that's no big deal. So deceived and naive, whatever you achieve, as much as you lie, you're dust on my sleeve. For 4,000 years, this country's been mine. That's before your great-grandmother wore diapers and wine. Open a book, it's not a big mystery, though I'm sure you failed the test in history. When
domestic violence restraining orders, and active criminal warrants. Congress is debating whether to expand the background check system, which applies only to sales by federally licensed gun dealers, not private transactions at gun shows or online. With IRN, USA Radio News, I'm Hope Duggar.
Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533. Or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The opinions expressed in the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized, and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533. Or Tom at TrentoVision.tv.
Good audio.
You can watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m.
5:30, we have Andy Boston. Somebody's going to send him an email. I'll send it.
Yeah, he'll
Skyping in.
Let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's
Tom Trento. Hello, everybody. Tom Trento. Thank you, Duff. Duff's Beer on the Simpsons. You ever see Duff's Beer? Well, that's Duff. back at WNN doing the little lead-in. We
Actually,
miss you guys.
It's Kenny. It's Kenny, actually. Kenny.
No, that was Duff's voice.
Oh, I thought it was Kenny.
No.
Okay.
Duff does did the commercial.
Oh, Duff did the commercial,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Kenny's running the board.
Oh, yeah. And we miss you guys, Duff.
Miss you, Kenny.
Kenny and Joe and Bob and the
Hello,
ladies.
pack of infidels.
And the ladies and everybody else.
Hello, all you infidels.
You're all, when we have our grand opening here in the bunker, we'll invite you in for a grand opening party, and you can the checks can be made out payable to Trento Vision.
That's right. There you go.
No, you're our guests, and we're as I mentioned earlier, actually yesterday, we do a 3-hour show now, basically a radio show that we brought simulcast on the internet.
On the Tea Party community too, who's picked us up.
Yeah, Tea Party community. But in April we're going to start our new format. We're really video and television oriented. That's our essence. A lot of B-roll, a lot of pre-produced packages, all of that. So we'll be doing only 1 hour. It'll be a 1-hour television show, national security briefing, and you'll have everything you need to know about all the bad guys that want to hurt you in 1 hour, 5 to 6 every day.
Can we really cram all this information into
I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know.
I hope you do nothing.
But we will cram it all in, and we'll be on WNN. We'll be broadcasting our television show on the radio. And those of you driving in your cars and listening, you will not miss anything, because we're very sensitive to the audio side of the visual work we do. But you need to get a computer or an iPhone or whatever and watch this whenever you can, except when you're driving. No jihad when you're driving, no drinking when you're driving, and some of you shouldn't even be driving when you're driving, because I've seen
women.
Yeah. The Muslim said that.
The Muslim said that one. That's
no car for you.
No car for you.
I may have to agree sometimes with some of the women I've seen.
Oh, come on, Tom.
Some of the women, I mean, some of the guys.
It's not very Unitarian of you, Tom.
Or the Chinese guys, or the wetbacks, I guess. All that, right? That's a joke. All right, anyway, Tom Trento here on TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470. Welcome to all the Tea Party community people grooving in with us, 120,000 people there. You guys are doing phenomenal work, true patriots. Today we're giving you a little look into something you may not be familiar with. You're more familiar with other stuff. But this is an inside look in the cunning, planning, and organizing of the unholy alliance in the United States, comprised of... The unholy alliance, comprised of whom?
The leftists, the uber socialist leftist, Unitarian, Universalist leftist little
Scientologists,
little weasels, and the
Zabita wearing
Muslims,
Sharia compliant Muslims. We have Muslims who hate really liberal ideology that Democrat liberals have. But the Democrat liberals are so stupid, these people on the left.
I tell you what, my wife's a Democrat. I mean,
she's not. She's a closet Republican.
No, she's a Democrat. Okay. She's a longtime Democrat. Yeah. I'm a Unitarian. Okay, I know you. Those are like 4-letter words to you, but I'm telling you. And you ask because typically Unitarians and Democrats are for social values, are for
social justice.
No, are for gay rights and things like that. That they should have a right to do what they want to do. A lot of our greatest music has come from homosexuals. Whether you like to admit it or not, it does.
Our greatest music came from homosexuals.
Elton John, hands down.
Elton John. You look at the latest American Idol way back when. He's a great artist, and it's just you can't deny that. So you have to understand that these people are part of who we are as a country, as America.
They think that if they pacify and appease them, okay, feeding the crocodile, they'll be eaten last.
The first thing that would happen, joining up with these radical Islamists, and you hate the term Islamist, but the people that follow Islam to the letter, to the law, okay, like this guy who we are dealing with today, would want to see those people killed. And trust me, hooking up with these people is going to get you killed. You're the first. You're going to be the first to go. They're not going to come after me. They're not going to come after Tom. They're going to come after you. That's my rant.
Good rant. Good rant. What I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen, we're very interactive here, which is why we have an ensemble doing this work. Everyone here is schooled in the Islamic threat doctrine. We're all very aware of it. We stay on top of it. We do it for a living, so we know what we're talking about. And we bring the combination of all of our personalities and interest fields every day, 3 hours to this big microphone here, blast it out. And the show is growing more and more and more, and the social media is interesting. But as I said, we're a small organization, underfunded. TrentoVision.tv, donate securely.
Send money, please.
And we're having a little hard time keeping up with the texts, the emails, all the stuff that's coming in right now.
Things are flying across the screen right now.
Make a mitzvah. Send the goyim money.
Send the goyim money.
He's a good goyim.
Our Muslim is a Jew too.
So is chubby CJ. Is a good goyim.
What we need in here is a nice Italian guy.
Hey, what are you talking about?
What?
I said, what are you talking about? You got good Italians in here.
Okay. Where you from?
I'm from Brooklyn. Where are you from?
You almost said more
7 words.
7 words.
I got it. You know, you come
What part of Brooklyn?
Bensonhurst.
Okay.
Hey, you got a show to do. You got your Boston calling in 18 minutes.
That's right.
Get your Boston calling. Go on.
Got my Boston calling in 18 minutes. Before we do my Boston, we got to do my Bachman.
Hey.
All right?
You talk about a good-looking broad.
She is. That's what's funny about it. She is.
Not like those stinking Democrats.
No, the Republican ladies are pretty fine. You gotta admit. All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do, folks. We are. If you're just tuning in, this is not a comedy show by any means. We're very serious national.
We make jihad fun.
Yeah, we deal with people that want to kill you. We try to get in between them and you on the ideological level. And today we're illustrating the part of the Islamization of the United States through the slow frog in the hot water type of boil process where you don't know you're being rolled over, where a group of people, Christians, I'm a Christian theologian, and these Unitarian Universalists,
don't throw that Universalist thing on me. This is Unitarian.
This is phony stuff. But they're it's a whole social thing, all of that. They've joined together the Muslims, and we're exposing a graphic illustration of a group of people trying to suppress a true American hero, Pamela Geller, who is fighting to stop the Islamization, Islamization of America. And the way she does that is she goes out and tells the truth, and she'll debate. You think Pamela would debate any of these people in the public forum?
She'd destroy them.
She would debate them anywhere, anytime,
but they won't
on the face of the earth.
They're chicken.
That's what they should do. Just
because
like
she is she-devil.
Just like I would extend to them, if you don't like our show, we'll bring you on the show. We'll give you unfettered time in a debate. We'll have a publicized, televised debate. Mr. Habib Ahmed or Robert Tibbetts or Claire DeRoche or any of you folks. You don't like what we're doing? Let's have a battle, ideological battle of ideas in the marketplace.
But that would be apostasy, Tom.
No, that would be chicken.
You can't have a debate.
They
want to shut you up.
Of course. So we're graphically illustrating, folks, that the illogic and hypocritical view of the liberal left with Muslims trying to suppress the free speech of Pamela Geller.
And if you're a liberal, you should be for free speech.
Mm-hmm.
You should be
a Jew
for
speaking in a synagogue. Now, but
for free speech of Nazis marching down the street.
It's only free if you agree.
But the United West, our sister organization, a counterterrorism nonprofit, we take donations organization, does a lot of work in terms of the systemic issue of blasphemy laws in the United States of America. Where do they come from? Well, they originate out of Saudi Arabia and some of the other key Gulf states, but they're articulated in a body called the Organization for Islamic Cooperation. It is the NATO, if you will, or the United Nations, if you will, for the Muslim world, both Sunni and Shia.
The largest voting bloc in the UN.
Yeah, there's 56 nations.
Plus one.
Now you can count Palestine and Israel, whatever that is. But it got quasi-statehood
They're observers.
last year. Yeah. So 57 nations basically are writing a law, and they're writing a global law saying you can't make fun of the prophet. Remember 9/11/12 when our Egyptian embassy was devastated when Benghazi happened for innocence of Muslims or Mohammed? I keep getting that.
I think
whatever it is. Which it really didn't happen
What
for
do you
that.
mean whatever?
Remember all of that? Well, this is an effort to suppress free speech globally. And in Islamic countries, you can't do what we're doing. Imagine us. What Islamic country can we go to and have this show? Right. We'd be killed in 5 seconds, you know?
Yeah, well.
All right, well, coming down from the global perspective, the universal perspective, the Islamic Organization of Islamic Cooperation, to the national viewpoint, we want you to see this short video by Michelle Bachmann, the congresswoman from Minnesota. What do you got there, Mark?
No, I was just reading that email. I just spotted another thing. This is equivalent of a church in the 1930s inviting representatives.
No, don't do that yet.
We're going to do that.
Jump ahead.
Shark jumper.
Jump in the shark.
Jump in the shark. Oh, my God. There's some great stuff coming here.
We're going to show
Great
Michelle
stuff
Bachmann
coming
right
here.
now. Listen carefully to what she says, doing an overview and analysis of exactly what we're talking about today. Here we go, Michelle Bachmann.
Audio.
One of the largest, most powerful organizations in the world, and you should know its name. It's called the Organization for Islamic Cooperation. Organization for Islamic Cooperation, OIC, and so far it's gone virtually unnoticed. Who are they? The OIC is the second largest intergovernmental organization in the world after the United Nations. The OIC claims they have authority to represent all Muslims, even those who live in non-Muslim countries like the United States. In 2005, this very influential Islamic organization published a 10-year plan of action in 2005 to implement its Sharia-based speech code requirements worldwide. Listen very carefully to what I'm telling you right now. It explains this week. They had a 10-year plan of action to implement their Sharia-based, Islamist-based speech code requirements worldwide. But don't take my word for it. They published this plan on their website in English so no one would miss their intent. They intend to internationally criminalize all communication or any communication or speech that's deemed by them to be insulting to Islam, even in countries like the United States. That, my friends, explains the story of this week. Islamic enforced speech codes. No one, not Muslims, not non-Muslims, not Americans, are allowed to say anything Islamists see as insulting to their religion. They intend to force us to kiss our freedom of speech and religion goodbye, and that's why we're being forewarned today. Unbelievably, last December, they succeeded with both President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's help because they pushed through the United Nations the passage of UN Resolution 1618, which called upon all countries to enact laws preventing derogatory references to Islam, a clear violation of our First Amendment freedom of speech. And even before that, in October, last October, many prominent Islamic organizations wrote a letter to the White House where they urged our White House to do a complete purge of any federal training materials from references to the ideology of Islam. to ensure that all trainers in our U.S. military, our FBI, and other U.S. security agencies be retrained so they would be brainwashed in political correctness toward Islam. That's enforced Islamic speech codes here in the United States, and all done with the help of our President and Secretary of State. It took only days for the Obama administration to reply to this demand letter from the Islamists, promising to set up a task force with these same organizations to immediately begin this unprecedented purge of our counterterrorism training in every federal agency across the board. It's breathtaking, never been done before. But when members of Congress, myself included, started to ask questions about the identities of who these people were who were leading this purge in our government and what it was they were purging from our training materials, the Obama administration told us the information was closed. It was classified. We couldn't know who was behind this. I'm here to say, my friends, that we're now today very late in the game. We're quickly losing our sense of who we are as a nation, and we're losing our ability to identify our radical Islamist enemy. The time has come to stand unashamedly this week for our freedom and our values and draw an unmistakable red line for our enemies across the world.
Yeah, that was, I'd say, right on the money.
100%. Not a thing I
Man.
can argue anything with that.
Witch hunt, absolutely.
It's almost like
witch hunt. McCarthyism.
I mean, I couldn't have written it any better.
And she sits on the standing committee, the select committee in Congress for intelligence overview.
Right.
And her job is to make sure, it's why we have a separation of powers, that the various intelligence, law enforcement, and military agencies in the United States maintain their American purity and integrity. And if there is a problem, her job is to alert the inspectors general, the IGs.
Right.
And she did that last June with 4 other people and said, we got a problem in the White House. We got an infiltration in the White House of the Muslim Brotherhood. We want you, the inspector generals, to take a look at it. They laid out 15 pages. She laid out 15 pages of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And John McCain and Lindsey Graham attacked her.
Oh, brutally.
For being an Islamophobe, basically. Unbelievable, folks. That's why we're speaking out. Back to my screen, Mike. Let's go to email number 4. This is from Robert Nuxall. He's the secretary of the Interfaith Alliance. Ooh,
This is amazing.
I need music in the background. The Interfaith Alliance. Ooh.
Scary individual.
And he's a secretary.
Make sure you have your pen there, Robert.
Yeah.
Dear friends, this is number 4 in response to Claire DeRoche's. Dear friends, I have telephoned the Great Neck Synagogue, 516-487-6100, and found no one who knew anything other than that it was scheduled by their men's club. I left a message and asked that someone return my call. I specifically said, this is the equivalent of a church in the 1930s inviting a representative of the Nazi Party to speak. Pam Geller has been labeled by both the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center
Oh, yeah, 2 quality organizations.
as a leader of a hate group, close quote. I mentioned that I am a representative of the Interfaith Alliance of Long Island. I need that music.
Yeah.
And a member of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Shelter Rock. I suggest that regardless of whatever else we do, each of us calls the synagogue to protest their inviting a noted hate monger to a house of worship.
No she-devils, damn it.
Okay, I mean, we can spend a lot of time on that.
Why can't you just go for
Yeah,
an hour on this?
What do you see? What struck
This
you, Mark?
is equivalent of a church in the 1930s inviting a representative of the Nazi Party to speak.
Now, I think the Nazi Party had as one of its raison d'etres the advancement of the super race, Nietzsche's super race,
Yes.
I believe. And part of the cleansing of the herd was to get rid of the retarded, the midgets,
The Jews!
the black, yeah, all of that, cleansing society to get all these people out by killing them.
Right.
So, do you know Pamela Geller?
I haven't heard her say anything quite like
Anybody
that.
ever hear her talk about a super race where?
No, one group I
have heard her speak in person several
Now-
times, and I can't remember her asking for the elimination of any races.
Ironically, there is a group out there who does do that. Who could they be, Tom?
Oh, I don't know.
The ones who want to...
I'm thinking of the analogy.
It's right on the tip of my
CARE? Is
tongue.
it CARE you're talking about?
No, not
Who you
CARE.
talking about? Muslim Brotherhood?
No, just a little bit. Oh, Islam. That's
Oh.
right.
Well, what I'm thinking of, really, the historic analogy should be, whereas Martin Niemöller and several Schindler, Oskar Schindler, there were people that stood between the Nazi Party and the destruction of the Jews.
Right.
That's really what Pamela's doing. She's standing between the Islamic supremacist
ideology.
movement to destroy Jews or free speech.
It's their ideology.
Well, my rabbi said she's a racist.
But you got that. Isn't that a Jewish organization, the Anti-Defamation League?
Yes, and this is Abe Foxman from the ADDL calling Pamela Geller a racist she-devil.
From the ADDL?
Yes.
ADDL, okay. All right, let's go to email number 5 out of 7. So that last one was written by Robert Nuxall, the secretary. And he brought in the Nazi... whenever you want to fight Pamela Geller or any of us, bring in the Nazi stuff, okay?
Yeah.
When we bring it in, it at least makes sense. So now, in response to the Nazi number 4 email, come to me, Mike.
I think Bob.
Our buddy Habib Ahmed responds and says, "Hello, all." Mike, my screen. In response, tell him to hang on. Andy, hang on for a second. We're getting through a couple of things here. In response to email number 4, which Nuxall wrote, number 5, Habib, follow along, connect the dots. Habib Ahmed writes, "Hello all. I think Bob has a wonderful suggestion for now. Let's start calling the Great Neck Synagogue he gives the number, and tell them it is not befitting a religious organization to invite a bigot and a known Islamophobe. Request that you would like to speak with a rabbi, and if he is not available, then leave a message for him. Please do this tomorrow and pass on this message to your friends and family."
This is a classic
Maybe
example.
that's how I got this. Maybe I'm a friend or part of a family of somebody on the email.
Oh. So you are allowed to have this email, Tom, huh?
Well, if somebody wants to come after me and find that out, they can. What about that? Wouldn't that be an interesting surprise? You never know who your friends and family are. Yeah, I know. I heard him. Bloop, 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 bloop. All right, that was Habib Ahmed, first vice president. I'm going to go through these emails so then we can talk to Andy. The next one, email number 6, the last from the next to last, the penultimate, is from Tom Goodhue, and he pipes in, "I called yesterday, introduced myself, and said that before I started organizing protests, I wanted to confirm if what I heard was true." He called the synagogue.
Right.
"Since it was hard to believe that a synagogue would host somebody who's been so condemned as a bigot and hate monger by the Anti-Defamation League," all this phony baloney bravado. "A somewhat perplexed secretary put me through to one of the rabbis yesterday who said he knew nothing about her coming, but apparently the men's club invited her. I told him that I'd hoped they would reconsider, since he was highly offensive to me and doubtless to many other folks. The equivalent of a church inviting a Nazi is the Nazi thing again, who claimed that Jews were trying to impose kosher laws." Man, they are mixing all these metaphors and symbols. That Jews were trying to impose, claimed Jews were trying to take over America, or a mosque inviting an anti-Semite who claimed Jews were trying to impose Kosher laws on the nation. No, that's Islam. I also allowed,
Islam. Right, sorry.
as how the men's club could have done this without the knowledge and telling him that I now worked at Riverside Church. The men's club regularly invited right-wing fanatics to speak in their class on Sunday morning. Okay, so this guy's...
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
Yeah, Tom Goodhull's a complete ass. I think that calling is better at this stage than public protest because both the synagogue leaders may truly be surprised and embarrassed what the men's group has done, and because and we should avoid giving Geller free publicity. Well, that failed.
That failed, didn't it? How'd that work out for you?
How's this free publicity for you, okay? That worked real well.
How's that working out for you, Tom?
Let me guarantee there, Mr. Tom Goodhull, I could be a friend of one of the family members.
Big bad wolf's going to come after you.
I think she gets off on being so offensive that it draws attention to herself. Oh, he's saying nasty things about Pamela.
Now Habib's got
My guess is, Tom, this time tomorrow, this email is going to be all over the world. Yeah. And the last one by, who's this one by? Jifsha. Oh, we saw that name before. Thanks, Tom, for making the call. I called today, and they did not put me through to the rabbi. They just took a message, hung up. Tom is right at this point. Let's all make calls and speak to the rabbi. Let's tell our friends and family. There's that friends and family again.
Friends and family.
Do the same. Send this to all your email lists.
I wonder if they have the friends and family plan on their phone.
Send this to all your email lists. That was their first. That was their first mistake. Hey, you want me to reveal a little something to you? Tom Trento at the United West, our reach. We're on so many email lists with
your friends and family email lists.
Imam Faisal Abdullah, with Al Rasoni. I mean, we've got so many names. We're on so many of your lists. It all comes to us sooner or later. We'll tell you.
You are one of the biggest Islamophobes on earth.
Yes.
So you never know who's watching you, because you know what?
You know what? All of a sudden they pop up in our inbox. Oh my God, what's this?
Thanks, Habib, for the emails.
Thanks, bud,
for being on your list.
We love you. Love you, bud.
You know that email a couple of weeks ago? Watch for that one in the near future, too. End of emails. Okay, let's go to our special guest. Can we put him up on the screen, Dr. Andy Boston, a New Englander?
Is he calling in, or is he...
Andy, you there?
Yeah.
Can you put your video on?
Yeah, it is on.
Oh, I don't have you.
Down, bottom right.
And you got to lower the volume on him a little bit.
Yeah. Let me go over there.
All right. While...
Can you see it now?
Now I got you.
There we go. We got him.
Oh, wow. I didn't even go in there and
Let's put him on the screen. Let's see what it looks like. And we can do split screen, and we can flip him upside down.
Oh, my God. There
Dr. Andy B. There he is. How you doing, man? How you been?
Hi, guys.
Howdy, howdy. Are you familiar with the situation?
Yeah. I read. It was over at Pamela's site. I read the emails that you sent around. Absolutely.
Does she have?
I wanted to make a point, Tom, right off the bat about the fundamental allegation against her, and this is the common canard, which is that she's an Islamophobe, and that this is a great example of Islamophobia. I wanted to start by going over something I wrote as a blog back in October, which is that the concept of Islamophobia has been turned on its head, because it's a real doctrine, but it's an Islamic doctrine. It's actually an objective. It's a sacralized objective. We can see it in 3 verses in the Quran, one of which is actually the Muslim Brotherhood motto. It's the verse alluded to underneath their emblem, which is against them, make ready your strength to the utmost of your power, including steeds of war, to strike terror into the hearts of the enemies of God.
Exactly.
That's one verse. There's 2 others, 3:151 and 8:12. 3:151 will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. 3:8:12, the relevant part says, I will cast terror into the hearts of those who have disbelieved. So strike them over the necks and smite over all their fingers and toes. When we move on to the Hadith, Muhammad famously says in the most important canonical collection of Hadith in Sahih Bukhari, quote, I have been made victorious with terror, unquote. And when we get into Muhammad's sacralized biography, the most important one, by Ibn Ishaq, the earliest and most important one. It describes his killing, his ordering the killing of the poet Ka'b bin al-Ashraf for so-called offensive poetry. Muhammad's reputed to have said, who will take care of Ibn al-Ashraf for me? I shall, answered Muhammad bin Maslama, the brother of the Banu Abd al-Ashal. I will kill him. Do it then if you can, Muhammad said. And then we're told in this vignette, after the assassination takes place, quote, the Jews were terrified by our attack upon Allah's enemy, and there was not a Jew there who did not fear for his life. So this became a sacralized doctrine, and why? What's the purpose of it? The whole idea, if we now move to the Muslim historians of the early conquests, is that, and in particular, for example, in the conquest of Spain, of the Iberian Peninsula, of Spain and modern Portugal, was to cast such terror into the hearts of the infidel that they would submit. It would spare the Muslim armies, the Muslim raiders, need to engage in bloody battles. They would be the infidels would submit because they would be so terrified. Now, this is not just an ancient doctrine. There's a very, very important modern book written actually for the Pakistani army called the Quranic Conception of War. And we see how these concepts are brought into the modern era. This is not a trivial tome. It was commissioned by then Pakistani president dictator Zia ul-Haq. It has an opening that was written by Allah Buksh K. Brohi, who was a former Advocate General of Pakistan. It's been found on the bodies of slain jihadists, particularly by the Indian Army. And one of its sections, relevant, it says, terror struck into the hearts of the enemies is not only a means, it is the end in itself. Once a condition of terror is incorporated into the opponent's heart, hardly anything is left to be achieved. It is the point where the means and the end meet and merge. Terror is not a means of imposing a decision upon the enemy. It is the
Turn the audio back up.
We have ample evidence that this is a tactic, that this is a sacralized tactic, that this is a sacralized mission for the purpose ultimately of conquest and Islamization.
All right, Andy, how you are one of the leading historians and analysts of Islamic doctrine, particularly the threat doctrine, the Sharia. How do you take that historic fact and apply it to this situation before us, where we have a group of people trying to shut down Pamela Geller speaking at a Jewish woman speaking at a mosque? Make the connection.
Yeah, well, I think it's because we've allowed our elites, frankly, across the political spectrum, to be so cowed by cultural relativism, political correctness, whatever you want to call it, that we can't even get out fundamental principles of Islam, of Islamic doctrine, of its history. I mean, all these subject areas have become verboten, have become shouted down. You know, it's a very, very bizarre situation as an educator. You know, if I teach medical students, I teach residents, and the idea that you can't impart objective information to people so that they function is such a poisonous idea. I think that's at the root of this. The idea that simply, you know, when Pamela now currently has an ad campaign in San Francisco, and the most notorious, I guess, at this point and most recent is the campaign where she simply has quotes from Ahmadinejad, the Iranian president, and Yusuf al-Qaradawi, who's the spiritual advisor of the Muslim Brotherhood and arguably one of the most influential and certainly one of the most popular Muslim jurists in our era, making direct statements that uphold the Islamic doctrine of killing homosexuals. Now, those ads with their faces and their words are on buses, and Pamela is accused of anti-gay bigotry.
Wait. Yeah, we got to walk through that for a second. So, Pamela Geller, the target for this this combined cabal. Let me stop here for a minute, Andy. We have in our emails, it's very evident that we have Habib Ahmed, who's a Muslim, very prominent Muslim, I'm sure involved with the Brotherhood in many ways. We've checked all different organizations he's linked into. And then we have these really leftist kind of quasi-Christian groups, interfaith groups. What are these two people doing joining together to stop a Jewish woman from speaking in a Jewish synagogue? How does the hard left and Muslims join together? What is
I think both of those forces have a shared totalitarian ideology, at least when it comes to their aggressive suppression of free speech. I think here's where the totalitarianism of the left and Islamic totalitarianism merge. I think these are both utopian.
All right, we lost his audio there for a second. No, they're trying to make this unholy cabal to
Iran.
Okay.
During the Khomeini revolution, what we saw was a temporary alliance between the traditionalist Muslims under Khomeini, the traditionalist Shiites, and the very hard left, the communists, to oust the Shah, who, although a brutal authoritarian in his own right, was trying to modernize the society along Western lines, along secular lines. And the forces on the hard left and the traditionalist Shiite Muslim groups under Khomeini got together, ousted the Shah, and then it was the fundamentalists who had the upper hand, and they waged a brutal campaign against the communists, and that's how it played out in Iran.
All right, and now Pamela Geller has an advertising campaign where she took the logic of the left and simply used it against them, and her logic is compelling. It meets all the rules of being legitimate, valid, and true from at least Aristotle's point of view. Maybe not Mohammed Imam Faisal Rauf. Hey, by the way, do you know that Habib Ahmed, who is one of the commissioners in Nassau County, the Human Rights Commission, he's the president-elect of the Islamic Center of Long Island. He is the principal person involved in these emails. He is the uncle to Daisy Khan, the wife of Imam Faisal Rauf. Did you know that?
No.
Now look at that whole thing.
I mean, does it shock you?
Ralph. If we look at Ralph's writings, and if this man shares his ideology, there's no question that Ralph is a Sharia supremacist. He's written extensively about it. He sees no problem with not adapting his views to Western society, but having Western society adapt ultimately to the Sharia. He's more of a gradualist about it, but there's no question that that's his ultimate goal. He argues for the creation of Sharia tribunals. Again, it's all in this. I would say deceptive, but only deceptive to people who don't understand anything about Islamic law. Language which tries to really spatchcock Western conceptions together, but it's nonsense in the end. It's just gibberish. The Sharia is the Sharia.
Hey, Andy, You know, I hold 3 earned degrees. I don't think I've ever heard the word spatchcock. What is that?
Well, just sort of put together, you know.
Did you make that word up? Did you make that word up?
It's really he is inventing his own language, maybe like I just did, to try and force Islamic concepts into a gentle sort of Western mode, and what he means is Sharia in the end.
There's
no question.
We have a few minutes left. Let me ask you this: there are many people listening. We sent out a very large email, and I'm sure we have many of the perps that are on the email chain are watching, and they called their friends and all of this. And there are many people that think you, myself, our team here, and Andy McCarthy, and Gaffney, and Claire Lopez. Yeah, we're. I don't know if you know.
Haters.
Dr. Andy Boston. I don't know if you know. We have a resident Muslim now, Abdullah, Imam Abdullah. I fooled you, you fooled me. Say hello to Dr. Andy Boston, who's written extensively on the Sharia.
Hello, Dr. Andy. I've read much of your stuff and hate it all.
Okay.
You are entirely too honest and accurate, and I do not appreciate.
But for the people,
and man, this guy came out of one. He sounds like the guy in one of my kids' movies.
For the people out there that are trying to figure all this out and going, you know, is Trento crazy or what's going on? Or who's this Boston guy? He's in some cave and
well,
whatever.
does he have a doctorate in Holocaust denial? Or
yeah.
Because I heard that. What's your doctorate in, Andy?
No, he's a physician.
I'm sorry?
Oh, you're a physician.
Yeah,
okay.
he's a physician.
I'm a physician.
Oh, okay.
I'm an MD.
Yeah, but how would you respond to people saying, yeah, you guys are really taking this out of context? I mean, Muslims are nice people.
Look,
how do you respond to that?
Yeah, Tom. My other formal degree, one of my other formal degrees, is as a trained epidemiologist. So I'm very, very comfortable looking at data.
Diseases.
And when you look at data, and really what Pamela is guilty of in Islamic law terms is blasphemy. When you look at data, even from our own country, let's forget about the global process. You talked earlier about the organization of the Islamic Conference to attempt to oppose blasphemy law through UN instruments, etc., and again abrogate the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with something called the Cairo Declaration, or the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Islam, a Sharia-based conception of human rights. In our own country, there was a survey done late in the fall, I believe. It was published by Wenzel Associates. It was 600 Muslims. It was a convenient sample, but it was a convenient sample of well-to-do Muslims, high educational levels, high socioeconomic status, etc. So if anything, if there was going to be a bias there, it should ostensibly be a bias towards moderation. And what this survey found was that 60% of the Muslim sample, 58% to be precise, did not believe that Americans should be prosecuted for insulting Islam in general or the Prophet Muhammad specifically, and 12% were willing to admit that they felt that the death penalty should be applied to such offenders or blasphemers. These are American Muslims, well-to-do Muslims, well-educated Muslims. This is at the root of the problem. The Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, which is a mainstream organization, members are affiliated throughout the university system in the United States, and more importantly, train imams at national conferences every year for Canadian and American imams. Their fatwa committee has issued a judgment on blasphemy, which reiterates classic Islamic law that non-Muslim blasphemers should be punished by death. Now, obviously, they're not in a position to enforce that, but that's their view.
All right, Andy, we have a question from, is it from Imam Abdullah or is it from you? Okay, go ahead.
Andy, did you say that
you might get close.
Did you say that 12% of the people in that study, the Muslims in that study, believed in the death penalty for non-Muslims for blasphemy?
Yes. Yes, I mean, again, if we compared it to Pakistan, that might sound moderate,
I know, but we're in America, and that's a little frightening.
Of course, it's frightening, and I thought equally frightening was the much larger percentage, basically 5 times that number, almost 60%, who openly admitted that they felt there should be some sort of criminal punishment for those who they perceived as having insulted Islam or Muhammad.
And this is what the issue is about, ladies and gentlemen. Andy, we have about 1 minute left with you. What is your challenge to America on this issue in 1 minute?
I think Americans have to educate themselves. They've done a lousy, lazy job about educating themselves about the basic principles of Islam, particularly how they relate to non-Muslims. I mean, there's a lot of inside Muslim baseball that, frankly, they don't need to know anything about. They certainly need to know the history of the jihad, the doctrine of the jihad, the relationship between non-Muslims and Muslims in an Islamic society, the fact that that's a goal to Islamize humanity. That's been a consistent goal. Understand the basic principles there, and not to let their public officials, their educators, off the hook when it comes to all the fog that the politically correct elites try and blow over all these issues. That's the obligation of the American public.
All right, we thank you.
I think
thank you,
take
Andy.
it from there.
All right, man, thank you. Let's give him a hand for sure. He's doing great work. Dr. Andy Boston, we thank you very, very much. You take care now. We'll have you back in the future. Have a great Shabbat Shalom. Have a great Friday.
Yeah, and
Saturday,
back to the NCAA.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, we got a couple of minutes left for our listening audience, 52 minutes, and our viewing audience, 52 minutes after 5 o'clock on the East Coast. The For Whom the Bell Tolls, it's tolling for us in just a few moments.
Net 2.
Man, this went very fast.
Time goes.
This went very, very fast.
Hey, Mike, bring up Net 2.
Net 2. So what do you got on Net 2 for us, Mark? Oh, I know that website.
Okay.
Yeah, what is it?
This is the Atlas Shrugs site by Pamela Geller. AtlasShrugs.com.
What is it?
And what it says, my jihad and great neck Muslims leftist coordinate.
Hashmark. Yeah.
My jihad and great neck. Muslim leftists coordinate to stop Pamela Geller from speaking at synagogue. I'm set to speak at the Great Neck Synagogue on April 14th, but Tom Trento has uncovered emails that reveal a coordinated leftist Muslim campaign to intimidate synagogue officials into canceling my talk. Please pay close attention to these emails and read each one. These show how a machine operates. They deploy their forces carefully, mirroring the Sun Tzu and Muhammad in exploiting the arts of war and going to immediately for the juggler. They go right to the top, target the leadership, and apply enormous pressure at the most senior levels. In this case, the chief rabbi of New York. Part of their strategy is divide and conquer. They have been widely successful in splitting the American Jews and weakening forces and opposing the jihad against Jews. If you want to read her full article, go to atlasshrugs.com. Great work, Pamela. Keep fighting
and
up there.
Full disclosure, we did not coordinate anything with her.
No, we did not.
Pamela was the individual this time who was the subject matter of these emails. We would have done this for anyone who's taking that position, but she is indeed one of the brave Americans who's taking a stand fighting these guys. That's for sure.
Right.
All right. 10, 20 seconds from each of you. Your closing thoughts as we wind this up, Mike.
Go ahead, man. Amazing. Nothing we didn't know or expect. Saddening if you love the Constitution and if you love this country. And I just recommend that America wake the hell up.
Mark?
This is the classic pattern. This is the classic pattern of what's going on. They infiltrate the human rights councils. They populate them. They put pressure on weak-minded Jews who do not have a foundation in their religion. They have a foundation of being popular in their community. And they cave.
Yeah, I think as we wind this down, thank you everybody for joining with us. And at WNN, we're going to go just a couple more minutes, probably 57, 58. Thank you for being with us on a very interesting Friday afternoon. We thought it would be a little more lazy, hazy, crazy Friday.
I was ready to take off on this today.
You know, we're going to kind of just groove through some interesting stuff. Check out Obama and Israel. And,
I was going to take a nap.
But we did one of our United West exposés, and it's just the beginning. We're going to dig into this quite a bit more deeply.
Oh, you're not done yet.
Now, I'm sure there's those of you out there that say, well, you guys do the same thing. You've tried to keep Siraj Wahhaj from speaking at places. Yes. Now, you have to look at, there's a process and there's content. You have to look at that. Siraj Wahhaj is an unindicted co-conspirator who's a terrorist, okay? And we're trying to alert America to people like that. Pamela Geller is simply fighting against the Siraj Wahhajas. We're alerting everyone to the Islamization of the United States of America. And you couldn't have asked for a better gift on a Friday afternoon just before Passover.
Thank you, Unitarian.
Remember how the Jewish people were slaves in Egypt for 400 years and they were set free?
Thank you, Moses.
It's very good to get a little email like this every once in a while to kind of set the truth free, where you see the connivers conniving and the liars lying and the deceivers deceiving, and we put it out there for the whole world to see.
In its full context.
It's full. Yeah, we didn't edit anything. It's right there. And if any of you folks want to come on the show, we have an open invitation for anyone listed on that email to come on anytime you want and dispute anything we said.
And that's the difference.
We talk. Yeah, that's the difference. We talk back, though. We fight back.
And that's the thing about it. In those emails, did they say, hey, let's get a hold of Pamela Geller. Let's have a vigorous debate on her issues versus our points of view. Let's take them head on. I mean, we've had those.
She would agree to that.
She would agree to that. We've had those emails going back and forth to us. Let's get this guy on the stage. Let's go, mano a mano with him. But they never do.
I want all of you people on that email list to just think about this. You're too frightened to come on this show or any show. We'll put together a neutral, something in New York, a neutral entity, and myself or somebody on our side will, if you don't want to deal with me, we'll discuss these issues with any of you, Habib Ahmed, but you're too chicken. Now, what does that say about the guts you have? What does that say about your position? You don't have a strength of character or confidence to argue in an open marketplace your position, particularly you phony people at these interfaith fake Christian organizations.
I'd love to have interfaith dialogue with them.
A standing offer to deal with them. Mark will deal with. He's a Unitarian, so we're here for you. We pray for you too. We don't simply want to get into a fight with you. We want to expose the truth, which we did today. Thank you all for listening. It's been a very educational, informative day. Have a wonderful weekend. And to all of our Jewish people, we'll just close on, you got the IDF thing, and me, I love this. Here we go. We're out of here.
There we go. Hey, that's good close. I like this.
All right, good show, man. Good show. Good.
So let me hear you say that I'm a criminal of war. Come on, little punk, that's what you came here for. Take a photo, you can stage it if it's necessary. Should I make an expression that is really scary? Bigger than you, we're here and disappeared. Not to mention smarter, but that's no big deal. So deceived and naive, whatever you achieve, as much as you lie, you're dust on my sleeve. For 4,000 years, this country's been mine. That's before your great-grandmother wrote diapers and wine. Open a book, it's not a big mystery, though I'm sure you failed the test in history. When force is not an option, you refer to scam. But frankly, you bug, I don't give a damn of your ignorant opinion or what you think about me. I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. Let me tell you what condemn the 10 plagues. I think Moses should be brought to their Hague. Let my people go. Declaration full of vanity, boils and hell. Now that's a crime against humanity. The name of this place, Judea, rings a bell. Shut down your camera and operate your cells. 2 plus 2, I know it's hard for you to beat, so exaggerate, manipulate, I don't give up. Shift now back to Samaria, which you call the PA, the place of King David, all the prophets, and hey, Jesus was here. But I hate to break it to you, I heard an awful rumor, they say he wasn't true. So don't let me interrupt you, do the job for what you hired. With your organizations, you really got me tired. The bottom line is, though it's painful to see, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא, ושום דבר לא השתנה. השעון לא נעצר, עוד מעט יבוא מחר. רק המנגינה חוזרת, אין לי ארץ אחרת. I ain't gonna move this time, no use. I've taken enough of your twists and abuse. Every time you come in different forms in disguise. Purity of race, human rights, all your lies. So ride by inside with me, it's fine. Do your little job, I'll keep doing mine. From the mountains of Galilee, from desert to sea, I'm an Israeli soldier, proud to be. אני חי מיום ליום, לא הולך לשום מקום. יום עובר ועוד יום בא,